It is a battle of the elements tonight from Gov Fuller Field. Rain, thunderstorms in the area. Hopefully it holds off for Game 32 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season between the Brewster Whitecaps and your Falmouth Commodores. Alongside Ben Haller and Ryan Martin, I'm Andrew Delapiana here on Opening the Door. Ben, let's take you upstairs to northern part of Cape Cod for last night's matchup with Bourne. The offense was kind of scarce last night for the Commodores, but the defense really made the biggest difference.
Yeah, it's raining hard, pretty hard here tonight. It was raining errors last night at Doran Park, and all those, though, came in the first two innings, 3 from Adrian Lopez. He just had one of those days. But after those first couple innings, the pitching and defense both started to settle in, but it worked the other way around, too. The offense just kind of went silent after the first 4 innings. They scored all 5 of the first 4. A lot of that thanks to Jack Brown and relief for Bourne.
Commodores continue to plummet in fielding percentage in that category with those errors Ben just mentioned. But on the other side, a team looking to take advantage of that. Brendan Larson, the Whitecaps. Larson from Florida. He has been phenomenal his time here in July, since July.
How about the Canadian, Andrew? What we've seen so far, Lawson through 14 games on Cape Cod, a .348 average. That's the highest amongst any Brewster player not named Josiah Ragsdale. Remember what he did in June for this Brewster team. Lawson's been phenomenal. This is a guy who's a consensus freshman All-American, guys. Now he's taking it from Gainesville onto Cape Cod with the Whitecaps.
Yeah, he has been fantastic, leads the team in almost every offensive category. He's been really kind of the lone bright spot in the last couple of games for the Whitecaps, who have only won one of their last 5, including that 12-3 demolishing victory over Falmouth last time out.
Yeah, it feels like the last week and a half, the only time Brewster's playing well is when they're playing this Falmouth.
That sounds about right,
team.
yeah.
It's matchup number 4 between the two. Remember, we got started, that was the first home opener for Falmouth this year, where Brewster got that 9th inning comeback. Second game between the two, a little closer, but how about the last matchup? It was a 12-3 beating for the Whitecaps. That was the tied for the longest loss, or largest loss in terms of run differential for the Commodores this year.
Yeah, 3 home runs in 1 inning for the Commodores. I should say, on the other hand, given up by the Commodores. Hopefully that won't be the case tonight here from Gulf Fuller Field. And we're hopefully to get this one in here between the Commodores and the Whitecaps. Meeting number 4 on the other side here after opening the door. Welcome back into Opening the Door. I'm Andrew Delapiana, joined by USC infielder Adrian Lopez. Now, Adrian, about to take on the Whitecaps. Struggles for you at the plate as of recent. Couple of strikeouts, couple of ground outs as well. How do you make sure you're keeping your mentality sharp at home plate?
I think it's just, coming to the field every day, trying to be as positive as possible. It helps that I have a great coaching staff to just, allow me to flush it and, kind of move on. And, along with, great teammates like Justin Osterhaus and everyone like that. So, we're all here for each other, Unfortunately, it's not what I wanted for sure. Coming back, trying to, be the best possible version of me. But I think just trying to stay positive every day.
What's the best thing you've gotten from those guys in terms of making sure, you're confident every single time you step up to the plate?
Just knowing that, I'm not alone through this, it's easy to feel like you're on an island when you're struggling and everything like that. But, just them being, really good friends, really just helpful all around. They're not kind of talking about it. They kind of just let me do my thing and, trying to help any which way possible that is.
Well, you looked loose on that double last night against Bourne. Had that kind of help the confidence moving forward?
Yeah, I hit quite a few of them during the season, so trying to do that here, hasn't been, the best thing that I wanted, but, to do that last night and get that kind of ball rolling, see Quinn over there do our little handshake thing, it felt good for sure.
And then for this team moving forward, as we get closer to that postseason push, what does it take for this team to kind of get to that postseason?
Just to stay on it. Like I said, we haven't been playing well, but I think we kind of realize, we're still playing our best baseball. So our best baseball is still ahead. So just kind of coming to the field, being as positive, being, as together as possible. It's really easy for teams to, grow away from each other during hard times, but for us to kind of get stronger together during this time, I think that's the big thing that we all kind of realize, okay, we're still in this, we're still out here, everyone still has the same mentality at hand. So
perfect. Thank you so much. Good luck tonight.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. Whole lot of baseball coming up, and we'll send it back to you guys in the booth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Arnie Allen Diamond at Gulf Fuller Field for tonight's Cape Cod Baseball League matchup featuring the visiting Brewster Whitecaps and your Falmouth Commodores. The Barnstable County Sheriff's Office promotes public safety throughout Cape Cod by offering youth programs, emergency communications, and criminal investigations. The Sheriff's Office is dedicated to addressing the underlying causes of incarceration through educational and rehabilitative services. Give them a warm round of applause. And now it's time to meet the starting lineups. First for the visiting Brewster Whitecaps. The manager of the Whitecaps is Jamie Shevchik. Leading off, the right fielder from Boston College, number 1, Camden Johnson. Batting second, the first baseman from Florida, number 19, Brenton Lawson. Batting third, the left fielder from Florida State, number 23, Brody Delamelier. Batting fourth, the third baseman from Arizona, number 7, Maddox Mikalakis. Batting fifth, the second baseman from Wake Forest, number 15, Dalton Wentz. Batting sixth, the designated hitter from Clemson, number 28, Colin Priest. Batting seventh, the shortstop from Georgia Tech, number 3, Carson Curse. Batting eighth, the catcher from Clemson, number 14, Jacob Jarrell. And batting ninth, the center fielder from USC Upstate, number 24, Scott Newman. The pitcher this evening for the Whitecaps, a left-handed pitcher from UC San Diego, number 33, Spencer Sid. And now it's time to meet the starting lineup for your Falmouth Commodores. First off, the manager in his first season with Falmouth, World Series champion, Jared Saltalamacchia. Leading off, the right fielder from the University of Maryland, number 2, Antonio Morales. Batting second, the third baseman from Cal Berkeley, number 8, Carl Schmidt. Batting third, the designated hitter from Georgia Tech, number 10, Kent Schmidt. Batting fourth, the center fielder from the University of Arkansas, number 3, Micah New. Batting fifth, the shortstop from the University of Southern California, number 18, Adrian Lopez. Batting sixth, the first baseman from Georgia Tech, number 35, Ryan Zuckerman. Batting seventh, the catcher from Texas A&M, number 27, Bear Harrison. Batting eighth, the left fielder from Oklahoma, number 24, Caden Brumbaugh. Batting ninth, the second baseman from Alabama, number 7, Justin Osterhaus. And the pitcher this evening for your Falmouth Commodores, a right-handed pitcher from the University of Miami, number 23, T.J. Coates. Fans, we ask that if you're able to please rise and remove your hats as we honor America and those who protect our freedoms with the singing of our national anthem by yours truly. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you. And now it's time for tonight's ceremonial first pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Logan Stanford, who goes to North Falmouth Elementary. He's 7 years old, and his favorite sport is what else but baseball. Logan, whenever you're ready, let's see what you got. There you go. Right down the middle. Strike. Ladies and gentlemen, Logan Stanford.
Welcome back into Gov Fuller Field as the Falmouth Commodores back at home after a while before a matchup. And the final matchup between the Falmouth Commodores and the Brewster Whitecaps this season. It's another Red Shirt Friday as the Commodores are at home. Ben Haller alongside Ryan Martin. You'll hear from Andrew Delapiana, the third member of our crew. And just after, in my biased opinion, what probably is our best national anthem from our good friend and PA announcer Will Rosen over there. We got baseball coming up, and two guys on the mound who have been bright spots for both pitching staffs that have struggled at different points in this year.
Yeah, Ben, Marist University might want to see William Rosen doing some PA and sing the national anthem there with the Red Foxes. Just like the Commodores, want to see some success out of TJ Coates. His first start with Falmouth since transferring over from Nebraska to Miami. It is his second appearance since committing to Coral Gables. So Coates making a team-high fourth start on the summer that ties Caden Eschman for the most by a Commodore this season. Ben, he's the only Commodore's qualified pitcher right now. That means that he has the most innings so far to be qualified for this game, or to be qualified for the pitching statistics. So experience is the biggest name of the game so far for the big righty and TJ Coates. I'm excited to see what he does facing this Brewster lineup for the first time all summer.
It's game number 32 of the Summers. After this, we just got 8 left before you look at that postseason picture. Falmouth Commodores right now actually sitting outside of the playoffs. They would lose in a tiebreaker to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks in last 4th place of the West Division. TJ Coates does have the 3 relief appearances, but this will be his 4th start, like you mentioned, 7th appearance total, and the ERA sits just a tad above 5 on the year. He's pitched a total of 24 2/3 innings. 30 strikeouts to just 10 walks. The new Miami commit has done it with all different ways. We'll take a look at this Brewster Whitecap lineup, the first time that TJ Coates will see him. Adam Magpach will lead off, play right field. Brandon Lawson batting second at first base. Brody DeLamelere plays left field at bats third. Maddox Mikalakis batting cleanup, playing third base. Dalton Wentz at second, bats fifth. Colin Priest, the DH today, he bats sixth. Rounded out by Carson Kurse at short, Jacob Jarrell behind the plate, and Scott Newman in center field.
Yeah, Ben, I look at this Brewster lineup right now, batting a collectively .226 on the year. That's 9th best on Cape Cod. So not a team that's going to knock the cover off the baseball, but we already mentioned in our pregame show and opening the door what Brennan Lawson has done so far. The Florida first baseman bats second today. He could be a real spark plug for this Brewster team that's lost 6 of its last 8.
They've lost 6 of their last 8. One of those 2 wins is coming against this Falmouth team just a little over a week ago back at White House Field in Brewster, or Stony Brook Field, that is. That one fouled down the first base line. First pitch comes in a tad early into the new first pitch time at 7 o'clock. Of course, we are an hour late due to some inclement weather, what they said at first, and it was weather that did show up.
It certainly was there. This was a game that was certainly in jeopardy, even with the hour pushback time, Ben. We were here at a regular scheduled time, and that field was wet.
It's an 0-2 count on the first 2 pitches down to Bagpok. It does sit at 79 degrees right now with a real feel exactly at 79. There is not a ton of wind today. The American flag down the right field line doing nothing. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to the first batter that TJ Coates faces as Adam Magpok sat down on strikes. Swung at a fastball high.
That's what you hope to see out of TJ Coates. Make it strikeout number 31 on the year to just 10 walks. Take a look at the defense behind him so far. The rare start at first base for Ryan Zuckerman because the usual first baseman and his Georgia Tech teammate Ken Schmidt will go to the DH that you see on the bottom right of your screen. Other than that, pretty chalk. I like what we've also seen out of Creighton Brumbaugh in left field.
Yeah, Brumbaugh makes his 3rd straight start in left field today for Falmouth. That's the first ball that Coates has thrown. It's to Brandon Lawson that You know, you talked about second-team freshman All-American a season ago at Florida. He started off with a 1-0 count. Fastball runs in and make it 2-0 now on the 348 hitting first baseman. Seen him get a decent amount of starts recently for Brewster. Kind of a later addition for the Whitecaps, and he wasn't somebody who made a name for himself right away, per se. It took him a little bit of time, but ever since he has been on fire. Give me over 2-0 pitch right down the middle. It's 2-1. It's a Florida team that didn't quite have the season that's kind of the Florida standard. Very good program, obviously. Chops the 2-1 foul, leave it up at 2-2.
Talked about that a lot when his Gator teammate in Ashton Wilson was here for just over 10 games this season. Large expectations in Gainesville after that great 2024 season. 2025 just couldn't match expectations.
The 2-2, check swing stays alive, so we cannot get strikeout 32 yet, but he's got 31 of them now after that first strikeout of this game. Again, one of my favorite numbers of his is those 30 strikeouts to just 10 walks. Two-two changeup, called strike three. There's 32.
Works with that slider, that sweeping action on his second most used pitch. Works out well, 82 miles an hour for the put away. It's part of a 4-pitch mix for TJ Coates. Uses his fastball about 60% of the time, and that slider that I mentioned also works with a curveball and a changeup.
Here comes the 3-hitter, and changeup again, cold strike on the inner part of the plate. Brody DeLamelere, the left fielder out of Florida State. So you go Florida, Florida State. Fastball grounded back up the middle, a slow grounder heading into dangerous territory, and a sliding try by Justin Osterhaus will not get there. So the first base runner for the game belongs to Brewster. It's a DeLamelere infield single.
Yeah, that pairing of Adrian Lopez at shortstop and Justin Osterhaus at second base has quietly become the most common middle infield pairing, Ben. Yeah. We saw that last night at Bourne as well. That was just no man's land for Osterhaus to go all the way onto the other side of second base.
Now Maddox Mikalakis with the runner on first and nobody out. 0-for-3 day yesterday for him. And that loss to YD, that was a very important matchup. Brewster, before yesterday, was in a 3-way tie for first place of the East Division, along with the Red Sox and the Harwich Mariners. It is now just the Mariners and Red Sox in that first place tie as Brewster dropped out. Still obviously sitting in playoff position, but even that's not totally safe right now. There's a jumbled division in the East, jumbled division in the West, jumbled league, I should say. Check over on the Lameleers in there safely. Change-up left a bit off the plate to Mikalakis, who can really play any position in the infield. He saw a little bit of time at shortstop this past year at Arizona. Been a Wildcat for a few years now. 1-1 pitch, skied high, down the third base line, tailing out of play. And for the fourth time, TJ Coates gotten ahead in the count. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. This was that Brewster lineup where we talked about top to bottom, just so many ACC guys. Change up left upstairs. First time these two teams played, which was the home opener for Falmouth. 8 of the 9 guys in the Brewster lineup were ACC guys. Now, numbers a little different. I see Lawson, the Florida guy, Mikalakis, the Arizona guy right now. Two pitch, fouled off down the third base line.
Yeah, you take a look at the conference breakdown for this Brewster Whitecaps team, courtesy of the Whitecaps broadcasters, Max Gefford, Samuel Reese. They do a great job with their game notes there. 10 guys on this Brewster team from the ACC. Next most represented conference is the SEC with just 4 Whitecaps.
So pretty good at bat here for Mikalakis. Pitch number 6 coming up with the runner on first base and 2 outs. No score at the top of the first here. It is now run full. Mikolakis this last summer in the Northwoods League playing for the Rockford Rivets, where he was Northwoods All-Star. Payoff pitch, fouled off down the right side. It was an action pitch with DeLamelaire taking off, but we'll have to go back to first base. That one's fouled off. 429 a season to go with 8 home runs and 61 batted in the Northwoods League.
It's pretty good.
That's very good. And that'll earn you a move up to Cape Cod from one summer to the next. And runner takes off again. Skied high to center. Mike Anu a couple steps back, and he'll make the play for out number 3. So one runner out of the single from Brody DeLamelaire, but that's all Brewster can get. Nothing across. Clean first inning for TJ Coates here on Cape League TV.
Hi, my name is Matt Burgess, General Manager here at Falmouth Country Club. We have a unique 27-hole public golf course with a beautiful layout that is family-oriented. Kids play free here at Falmouth Country Club. Getting on the course is quick and easy with our app. You can book tee times, get yardages with GPS, use our interactive scorecard, track your stats, and receive exclusive in-app offers. Falmouth Country Club is a true Cape Cod classic and a local family favorite.
See you on the course.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support: Kinlan Grover Compass, Massachusetts State Lottery, Milton Cat, OT Sports, Quincy College, Reader's Hardware Supply, Southern Recognition, T-Mobile, Velo Sports, and of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support.
I'm Antonio Morales from Norfolk, Massachusetts, and I'd love to get a shout out to my mom, my dad, my sister, and all my supporters.
It's felt like it's been a while since the Commodores have faced a lefty on the mound, but today's starter, Spencer Sid, will pitch from the third base side of the rubber as the lefty, and he will see this Falmouth Commodore lineup. Another little change from Jared Saltalamacchia from one game to the left. Schmidt and New were switched to the 3 to 4 spot most notably.
Yeah, both. That switch right there would be big. And then you look at the bottom of the lineup, too. Really like the combination of Zuckerman and Harrison again. That was the 1-2 that we saw would be so powerful in that win at Harwich earlier this week, Ben, that first win after the All-Star break. So I like the little tinkers for Jared Saltalamacchia. You got to balance these guys being comfortable 30-plus games into the season with also an offense that's struggling and needs something to change going into the playoffs.
That was the first and only win after the All-Star break at this point for Falmouth. They're 1-2 with the win at Harwich, a couple of losses, 2 straight, home to Katuitt and at Bourne. Here's what Spencer Sid's done this year. Not a ton of time for him. It's just his 3rd appearance and a total of 4 innings pitched. A 4.5 ERA. He has been solid. First pitch, changeup outside now to Antonio Morales, who is more consistent in that leadoff spot, the .252 hitting right fielder. His story about him was just how much different spots of the lineup he hit in and also different position he's played. But recently, it's been a consistent leadoff spot playing right field. He started off with a 2-ball, no-strike count. Spencer Sid, the rising senior from Flint Ridge Prep and UC San Diego Triton. 2-0 fastball popped up high. Shallow left. Both Curse and Mikolakis converging before DeLamelaire comes in to make the play. DeLamelaire playing left field with a stacked outfield for this Brewster team. But again, another team with a very consistent up-the-middle duo, Carson Kirsch, Dalton Wentz.
Yeah, those are two of just a handful of All-Stars this year for the Brewster Whitecaps. So any ball up the middle, you got to be careful about. Also, Jacob Gerald, one of the new catchers that's been brought in mid-season. I'm interested to see his chemistry with Sid on the mound.
First pitch fastball runs in now on Carl Schmidt, who has once again refound it, and he is swinging a very hot bat, .295 batting average. He was 2 for 5 with an RBI in yesterday's loss to Bourne. And he sees an inside pitch at a 1-0 count, lefty on righty matchup. Change up at the knees, called strike 1. Sid was an All Big West honorable mention this past year at UC San Diego, where he got a lot of playing time for the Tritons. A couple of pretty long starts, too. 7 innings in his 3rd start of the season against Cincinnati. change up high, make it 2-1. And he only gave up 1 earned run. Ryan, he had 13 strikeouts in that start against the Bearcats. It's a Cincinnati team that ended up winning a game in the Knoxville Regional.
Yeah, high strikeout guy. We've seen that through 2 appearances so far as well.
Going to be a long run for Dalton Wentz, but he's got it on a couple of hops. That'll throw over for out number 2. So, 2 down quickly, the same as the top of the first. We have yet to see a game between these two teams that you would maybe call low scoring. This is the first matchup they played, was the second game of the year and the home opener for Falmouth. Commodores took a 5-3 lead into the 9th inning before a 3 spot in the top of the 9th. For Brewster, ended up winning it. Now Kent Schmidt with 2 out, nobody on. Cold strike on the outer part. Schmidt getting the break in the field today. He will be the DH. We've seen it a couple times the last couple of weeks. Breaking ball, called strike on the outer corner. It'll let Zuckerman get some time over at first base. You see, there might be a chance one of those two is playing DH this upcoming season. Both of those being able to play first at Georgia Tech. We're a very stacked infield. That includes Carson Kearse, who's the shortstop for Brewster today. This ball left off to even it up at 2-2.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see what first-year Yellow Jacket manager in James Ramsey does. Mentioned Zuckerman and Schmidt, both with Falmouth, Kearse with Brewster. And how can you forget about that transfer from Cal to Georgia Tech for Jared Advincula?
1-2. Dalton Wentz got a couple of plays this sitting. It'll make a both to sit the Commodores down at 1-2-3. Spencer Sid, very efficient first inning, throws 11 pitches and gets out of it. Through 1, no score. Between the Whitecaps and Commodores on Cape League TV.
Hi, I'm Jim Murray, owner of Falmouth's historic Clam Shack, now Jim's Clam Shack. Located on scenic Falmouth Harbor, Jim's Clam Shack is a destination for the best seafood and sunsets on the Cape. We're open 7 days a week, so stop by for lunch or join us for dinner on the rooftop deck. Bring the entire family to try our wide selection of seafood and kid-friendly option. We deliver the freshest products to your plates daily. Jim's Clam Shack, proud supporter of the Falmouth Commodores.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support: Veolia North America, Wilson Sporting Goods, Yawkey Foundation, Netting Pros, Falmouth Publishing Company, Butler Sporting Goods, Sports Fix, Margaritaville Resort Cape Cod, Sunderland Printing, Del Mar Vacation Rentals, and of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support.
Hi, I'm TJ Coates. I'm a right-handed pitcher from the University of Nebraska, and I'd love to give a special shout-out to my brother. Love you, big man.
Final time the Commodores and Whitecaps will meet this season, and I think for Falmouth, you might be happy with that. It's a 3-0 series lead for Brewster, including the last time these two teams faced off just over a week ago, and it was tied for Falmouth's largest loss of the season. They were out hit 14-7 in a 12-3 loss. Another game with a couple of errors for the Commodores, and Jaden Waiwota's first start in Falmouth just didn't go the way he wanted. Gave up 7 hits on a route to a 4-run appearance. Commodores actually hit decent with runners in scoring position that game, which was 4 for 11, but it was a 7-run, 3-home-run 5th inning for Brewster that really did
You think about that long ball from Carson Tinney? Unsure if that one has yet to hit the field.
I still don't think so. It's been a week now, but I don't know.
It could be.
Tinney is not in the lineup today for Brewster, but the 5-hitter, and Dalton Wentz will step up to the plate and take a first pitch fastball at the knees for ball 1. No score through the first inning, just the one base runner for either team. Was on a single from Brody DeLaMeliere. Nice ball below the knees to put him at 1 ball, 1 strike. Now a fastball, hard down the third base line and fouled off. Coates completed that first inning with just 18 pitches. Said he did it with a couple of strikeouts. He's got 32 of them on the season now. Weather looks like it's going to hold up for the rest of the evening. As we got a little bit of a rainbow out in right field. past the Falmouth Inn.
So where do you think that lands? Maybe Smitty's Ice Cream down towards East Falmouth?
That'd be very...
Pot of gold over there. That,
Oh, yeah.
that black raspberry frozen yogurt, I'll tell you, that's a pot of gold.
That would be very symbolic. Rainbow at Smitty's. Unfortunately, the East Falmouth Smitty's is in the opposite direction.
Do you know who I saw at Smitty's during the off day on Wednesday? No doubt, you were there too. It was TJ
there.
Coates, the starting pitcher today.
See, that was the Mashpee
Yes.
Smitty's.
Not the Smitty's that we were just referring to, but after the beach day, I believe TJ Coates did the same. He was enjoying some Smitty's in Mashpee.
We'll see if that ice cream can help him get his third strikeout of this game. It runs inside, and instead it'll be the first walk of the ball game. Dalton Wentz gets first base. He wait for his second baseman after an off day yesterday against YD. And for the second straight inning, Brewster's got a runner on base.
Dalton Wentz, the East Division All-Star Game starter at second base. He struggled, though, since that All-Star game. He's 0 for his last 11, so good to see him reach base. Maybe that can kickstart something there for the Whitecap. You know what Wentz's last hit was? Just solo homer off Falmouth Commodore pitcher Trevor Ballmer in that All-Star game.
Change up called, strike down the middle of the zone now, too. The lefty Colin Priest. It's a long time ago. Kind of. 5 days at this point. 6 days, Friday to Saturday.
6 days, yeah. That's how math works.
Priest, the rising junior from Mount Dora, Florida, heading back to Clemson for his junior season. Check over on Wentz, the leadoff runner at first base. At his freshman year, Priest was named D1 Baseball top 30 first baseman in the country. A very up and down last sophomore season for him for the Tigers. Grounded at Osterhouse, 4-6. That will be it as Colin Priest beats the throat out at first base. Not the speediest guy in the world, but it gets the job done there.
Yeah, I think that was a really good turn at second base by Osterhouse, but then getting it to the covering shortstop in Lopez. Just hung up in Lopez's glove for a second too long, enough for Priest to get to first base ahead of the throw.
Commodores do eliminate the lead runner as Priest will now replace him at first base, and I think if you are Falmouth, you'd rather have Priest on base than Wentz. Reach the bottom third of the lineup now with Carson Curse. Two straight batters before they see their first pitch, a throw over to second. Colin Priest has not stolen a base this past season. Change up, called strike on the outer corner. And freshman season for Priest came at Michigan too, and he was dominated the Big Ten, one of the best first basemen in the Big Ten for making that jump to Clemson. Now Curse at the plate, the rising junior from Marietta, Georgia. Change up down the third base line. Schmidt lost it out of his glove. He tried to turn two, but can't even get one. E5. And in the last top two innings of the last two games, that is now the combined fourth error for the Falmouth Commodores as Curse gets first.
Yeah, it's been frustrating for the Commodores. No other way to put it in terms of making errors, especially in the infield. I think it was an awkward bounce at third base for Carl Schmidt, a guy who's not always at the hot corner. It's caught up in his glove for the first error of this game.
Curse does run well. 2 stolen bases on the summer, though doesn't really show it. It's the 8-hitter Jacob Jarrell. Fastball landed for strike one. Jarrell just making his 7th at-bat as a Brewster Whitecap this summer. One of the newer guys. And another Clemson Tiger team that had a very good season, but not quite the regional they wanted. Swing and a miss on a changeup just a bit below the zone. Now he's in an 0-2 hole.
It's Clemson Tiger to the right-handed batter's box looking to score. Clemson Tiger and Colin Priest for the first run in this game.
Priest at second base and Carson Curse at first after the error. TJ Coates his first time with 2 runners on base in this ballgame. Throwaway pitch on the 0-2 lands high.
Again, Coates used to having runners on base. Saw more appearances out of the bullpen than starts this past spring at Nebraska.
3 starts in his 8 appearances, but he's got his 3rd strikeout of this ball game. Tipped into the mid from Jacob Jarrell. A gift to Bear Harrison for out number 2 in the inning, and a big one to keep the runners at first and second. As He will complete one time through the lineup with the righty Scott Newman coming to the plate. Consistently in that 9-hole for Brewster the last week or so. There's 20 at-bats for him so far, though, a .250 batting average. He's 5 for 20. First pitch out. Making that change from South Carolina upstate, I should say, to Georgia. Making a step up, but that is a USC upstate team that's one of the better mid-majors in the country, especially this past year. Old strikeout that he was named a National Gold Glove finalist. Now in college baseball, the Gold Glove is not like MLB where there's one Gold Glove at every position. It is just one Gold Glove winner for the whole entire country. No matter what position you are, there's 3 finalists at each position. Change up, punched foul to make it a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Despite the small number of appearances for Coates, he had a strikeout in every single appearance. And the batting average against, despite the tough ERA, that number was very good. Opponents only had .220 against him. And he had just a couple appearances that kind of skyrocketed that ERA. And a third of an inning against Creighton where he gave up 30 earned runs. Newman stays alive with a 1-2. But some of the bigger games against better teams that he pitched well. He had 2 strikeouts versus Kansas State, 2 strikeouts versus Kansas, both this past year for the Huskers. 1-2, eye level.
I think one of the things that Coates benefits the most from, Ben, is that little innings that he actually pitched in Lincoln. Just 11 1/3 innings pitched in his one and only season in the Big Ten. That's allowed him to really get quality starts and up those innings being on Cape Cod as he's now working into his 26th inning.
Check swing, called strike 3. He's got 4 of them in 2 innings. Some defensive miscue for the Commodores, but nothing to show for it for the Whitecaps. 1.5 through. Still no score from Gulf Fuller Field on Cape League TV.
You'll always be safe at home with the Diana Lucevero Group at Compass Real Estate.
There hasn't been a ton of training when it comes to bat speed or products for players to be able to train bat speed. You can improve your bat speed and reach your goals working 10 to 15 minutes a day on this a couple of times a week. That's a no-brainer for every player.
If you can dream it, if you can cruise in it, if you can summer in it, fish from it, or take it for a day at the beach, we can protect it. The Baldwin Group, protecting the possible.
What's up? I'm Kent Schmidt, first base from Georgia Tech, and you're watching Cape League TV.
Commodores have lost 2 straight. One of those, a 6-5 loss to Bourne yesterday, where they struggled with errors. 3 of them in the first 2 innings of the game, all 3 from Adrian Lopez. But Lopez has not been the only victim of the errors so far this year, and at least recently for the Commodores.
Yeah, you look at that too. I think the second bullet sticks out to me the most. Just a .964 fielding percentage. That's the worst by any team not named the Chatham Anglers. And I think one thing that you see with this team is a confidence that in Game 32, just part of the highs and lows of the season. We heard from Adrian Lopez talking with the third member of our crew, Andrew Della Piana, about how it's a team effort and working to fix those individual mistakes. Gets rewarded with that with Shaltamaki keeping him in the lineup.
New golf try to his counterpart in center field. Scott Newman settles under it for out number 1. So a quick 4 up, 4 down for Sid, who has now thrown just 13 pitches, 7 of those for strikes. 4 of those 7 that are strikes have resulted in outs. No strikeouts for him yet. Adrian Lopez, as we were talking about, comes to the plate with one out and nobody on base. No score between the Commodores and Whitecaps. Each time these three teams have played, there have been runs early. All three matchups have seen at least one run in the first 2 innings of the game. Now Lopez, first pitch swinging, this time shallow right, and it's the right fielder Magpok's got it for out number 2.
Make it 14 pitches, needed to retire the first 5 batters of this game for Sid. And I was just about to mention, I think that's more of a reflection on Falmouth, Ben. Needing to see a few more pitches. You look at a guy like Adrian Lopez, one of just 5 Commodores this season with double-digit walks. You want to see that patience come into play. Maybe that's a point of emphasis, getting back to the dugout for Saltalamacchia.
There's Ryan Zuckerman with 2 outs and nobody on base. See if he is as aggressive as the first 5 in this Falmouth lineup. Lefty on righty matchup. We'll take the first pitch upstairs for ball 1.
Love the point that Andrew Della Piana made yesterday on the call with you at Bourne of how efficient and effective Zuckerman's been. Probably the best midseason addition and signee for this Commodores team.
2 fastballs, same exact spot to the 2-ball. No strike count on Zuckerman, who, you mentioned it, Harwich earlier this week was kind to both him and Bear Harrison. We're once again hitting back-to-back of the lineup. That was 7-8 back on Monday. They're 6-7 today, moved up a spot. Zuckerman just off the end of the bat.
Up to 353 on that average as well for Zuckerman. Had 2 hits at Bourne yesterday and a run scored.
Both of those guys have been bright spots in the bottom of the lineup, starting to see them creep their way up for Falmouth. That one back up the middle of the first base hit for the Commodores is Ryan Zuckerman. What do you know? Hitting .353 coming into this game. Get himself another base hit. Commodores have a man on.
I think Zuckerman's making that case to creep higher and higher up in the lineup. That's what we saw Carl Schmidt do at the end of June and into July. It worked out for the Commodores. Remember, he had, 5-6 games consecutively with leadoff singles to begin games. A move up for Zuckerman could be something that Falmouth looks for going into the playoffs.
First pitch now to Bear Harrison, and he's first pitch swinging. And a shallow center, it'll drop in. Into no man's land. Zuckerman around third. Harrison's up to second base. And a little bit of luck for the Commodores. Harrison putting bat on ball. Newman, Curse, Wentz, none of those guys could get to it.
And how about the big catcher charging up to second as well when that all-star middle infield of Curse and Wentz both go into no man's land and it drops in the middle of the triangle. It's Harrison who notices it immediately. No one's over at second, so he'll claim it. Now 2 in scoring position for Caden Brumbaugh.
Really smart play. I'm not sure if they would have got it if there was someone covering second, but Curse and Wentz, the second baseman and shortstop, both involved in that play.
You know,
we're
for
away
both,
from the bag, yeah.
You both know for both Zuckerman at third and Harrison at second. 2 bigger guys who are not known for their speed, but they love when they get a chance to flash on the base paths.
Both of those guys with base hits. 2 of them now for Falmouth. Still 2 outs in the inning. And Caden Brumbaugh sees strike number 1. Brumbaugh's had 6 plate appearances as a Falmouth Commodore. He's been on 4 times already. Make that 5 times in 7 plate appearances. He's got 3 walks and 2 base hits. Fastball upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike on Brumbaugh. Set around that 300 mark this past year at Nebraska. So, guy in the lineup, guy on the mound for Falmouth. A couple of guys leaving Lincoln for this upcoming baseball season. And one back up the middle. Awkward chop. Sid on a hop will make the throw to first in time. So, Sid gives up a couple of base hits, but able to work around it. After Harrison and Zuckerman reach, Brumbaugh grounds out, still no score through 2 on Cape League TV.
Introducing Open Cape, the local nonprofit internet service provider in this region. Open Cape's fast and reliable network is 100% fiber optic, providing affordable internet connectivity. To learn more, visit opencape.org and always speak with a live Open Cape representative. Open Cape, providing choice and competition for your home or business and the official internet provider of your Falmouth Commodores.
We are Open Cape.
Cape Cod 5 is proud to be the official banking partner of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod 5 offers a broad range of financial products and services tailored for every stage in your financial journey. Reach out to us. We're here to help.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we know there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. Now that's how we all win. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
Hi, I'm Justin Osterhaus from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'd like to give a special shout out to my parents and my brother, Becky and JD Osterhaus and Brady Osterhaus.
This summer, kids ages 5 to 18 can sign up for the Falmouth Commodores Youth Development Clinics. Live a day in the life of a Commodore and train with the top college players here at Gov Fuller Field. Register today on our website at capecodleague.com/Falmouth. That's capecodleague.com/Falmouth.
Those clinics are always a great time. You know, today was Slip and Slide Friday at the Commodores Clinics to wrap up the week. Come on.
We got here at 4 o'clock, a few hours at our normal call time, and saw the inflatables, bounce house, slip and slide, whatever you want to call it, some sort of, looks like a bounce castle
Relay
over
race
center field.
too, yeah.
And we weren't invited. I'm a little upset. No score through 2 between the Commodores and Whitecaps. Back to the top of the lineup for Brewster, Adam Magpock. Took the first pitch off the plate for ball 1. Magpock got that batting average just to .213 now with the strikeout in the first inning. Hasn't displayed a ton of power either, just one. He has struggled at the plate as of late for Brewster. Old strike on the outer part, but they are keeping him in that leadoff spot. His former teammate this last year at Boston College, Josiah Ragsdale, no longer with the Whitecaps. And, of course, Magpock making the change from Boston College to San Diego State. Cross country. Play for the Aztecs this upcoming year.
Yeah, now make Magpock 1 for his last 10 with 4 strikeouts, including that strikeout to lead off this game.
That was 1 of 4 for TJ Coates so far. Changeup runs in on the hands to even the count up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Coates so far, just the 2 innings of work. 1 base hit, let a couple on 1 on an air, 1 on a walk. So 3 have reached so far for the Whitecaps. Nice ball in the opposite batter's box. We've run full. Magpock necessarily on base percentage isn't kind of telling of a leadoff spot. Fouls that one back into the net, but it's kind of been some of those issues. Mentioned the .213 batting average with an on base percentage of .338. But again, the powers have been a bigger struggle probably. .290 slugging percentage. Called strike 3. Beautiful changeup from TJ Coates. Strikeout number 5 now, as he has just faced 10 batters. He struck out half of them. It's Magpock down on strikes now, twice, with Brendan Lawson coming to the plate. These two are going to be rivals this upcoming season in Coral Gables and in Gainesville. And it's Lawson, the Gator, first pitch swinging deep to left, but Brumbaugh able to settle underneath it just before the track.
Yeah, that's a really good bat for TJ Coates to now start Lawson's day 0 for 2 with the strikeout looking in the first, then the flyout, which looks some loud contact off the bat. I think Brumbaugh put a solid charge into it from his spot in left field. It doesn't hit the wall, doesn't go for extra bases for Lawson, instead just out number 2.
Last chance in the inning for Brewster is the 3-hitter, Brody DeLamelier. And a single back in the first inning. Changeup runs way upstairs, gets behind Harrison. And a slider right down the middle of the zone, 4-strike 1 to him.
That's a really pretty off-speed stuff from TJ Coates. Uses a slider, but 1 every 4 pitches. It's a pitch he's really trying to work on this summer on Cape Cod.
Top part of the zone. And another matchup between 2 rivals this upcoming season. This time Miami and Florida State. DeLamelier, the Florida State Seminole. Just 1 for 40 yesterday in his second start with Brewster. Swing and a miss. That's 6 for TJ Coates in 3 innings of work. He's got his best stuff at his first 1-2-3 inning of this ball game, holding the Caps scoreless. Falmouth scoreless too, heading to the bottom of the third. Cape League TV.
At Cape Cod Healthcare, we're committed to excellence and compassion in everything we do, like helping people maintain their active lifestyles. Our innovative orthopedic program combines advanced techniques and leading-edge technology with highly specialized teams, including our nationally recognized Center of Excellence for Joint Replacement. Our focus is getting you back to doing the things you love, in the place you love.
The Center of Excellence and the quality of care that we can deliver makes all the difference to the patients. They understand that they can get the best care right here on Cape Cod.
You can make any bat feel lighter by adding a velo puck knob. Instead of having to go get a whole entirely new bat, you can simply add the puck to it. Players can use this with any bat. It's basically going to shift the weight of the bat a little bit more towards the hands. Players are able to hit the ball a lot harder just by simply adding the puck on.
No score between the Commodores and Whitecaps. Bullpen not needed for a little bit of time here in the first few innings. That's including Grant Meert, who might be one of the smartest players on this Falmouth team. Our third member of the crew, Andrew Delapiana, has more. Andrew?
Yeah, that's right, Ben. Grant Meert, one of the newest recipients of the Elite 90 Award. He just got that a couple of months ago in East Lake, Ohio at the Division III College World Series. That's because he had a 4.0 in molecular and cellular biology, his major there at Johns Hopkins. One of the smartest schools in the country, I would say. Becomes the first baseball athlete to achieve that award. 5th in school history out of all the athletics that have come through the Blue Jays. And that award guide is given to the highest GPA in that student athlete in that sport. Through all of D baseball, Grant Meert, one of the highest GPAs at a 4.0 in molecular and cellular biology, guys. He's a smart kid.
Andrew, look behind yourself, too. Eddie Alman, I think, has a message for you in that Falmouth dugout. But, yeah, Meert, I think the combo of the way he can pitch, the way he can think with his brain, I don't know how someone can play baseball at the collegiate level, study molecular biology, and get an A in every class.
Molecular and cellular biology.
Now, it's one of those.
Say that, yeah.
Well, it's so tough that I don't know what that is.
I think it's molecules and cells, probably.
Is that what the molecular comes from?
I think so.
Yeah, see, I didn't win that award. I wasn't really a real contestant. That one grabbed it to the right side. Tough play, throw across the body at second for Wentz. It'll get by a first baseman and have no chance. That would have been late anyway. It'll be a infield single to start things off. The first at bat for Justin Osterhaus in this ball game. And for the first time today, Falmouth has the leadoff runner on.
Well, there's two pretty good second basemen in this game, Ben. Here's one grounding to another. Osterhaus to Wentz, who tries to make this crazy jump throw across his body. I don't think that would have been in time anyways, and it gets away from the first baseman, Lawson. But it does just go off the backing. Also good stop by the catcher, Jacob Jarrell, to make sure Osterhaus only gets first.
Antonio Morales now the top of the lineup as he flipped the lineup card over. First pitch off the plate. Morales popped to left his last time up. Still some struggles at the plate, but he broke through with a 1-for-5 day and an RBI. Had an RBI single yesterday against the Braves. The newest Maryland Terrapin trying to settle in at a new right field position. Nice ball low and outside in the dirt. Osterhaus stays put at first base. Another really good block by Gerald, but talked about the consistency in right field for Morales. It is a new position for him. He made a Superman catch early in the year. I believe that was the 4th of July baseball game. And it was one where we interviewed him, said something along the lines of play of the year, and he said, yeah, this is one of my first games playing right field in his career.
You really could not tell. And that's one of the beauties of summer baseball, Ben. And that's been a big emphasis for all these position players is learning a new position, getting comfortable with it before you go back to your school in the fall and say, hey, I'm a natural here. And that's the perfect example with Antonio Morales. Matt Swope and the Maryland Terrapins have an opening at right field. Morales could be that everyday guy in 2026.
Well, you beat me to it. That was going to be my question. You being the Maryland baseball expert of this Cape League TV broadcast, is that a position where they need the most?
It certainly is. There was Jacob Orr, Maryland man through and through, a 4-year player for the Terps, who was the everyday guy there, and all of a sudden he graduates. He was one of the on-base machines for the Terps this past spring. They need an opening there. And here's Morales getting another walk, the West Division All-Star Game MVP as well. He's really improved his resume and shown something going from Wake Forest to Maryland.
That is a 4-pitch walk for Antonio Morales. Now Commodores in business with 2 men on. Nobody out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And the 2-hitter Carl Schmidt, one of the hottest hitters on this Falmouth team.
Infield thinking bunt here with Schmidt.
Corners pinch in for Brewster as Schmidt fires away. Foul ball down the first base line. Both Lawson at first base, Mikalakis at third base coming in.
And remember, in this scoreless game, too, this is about as much speed with 2 runners as you can ask for on the base pass with Falmouth. Osterhaus at second and Morales at first.
Schmidt grounded to second his first time up. Was just on 1 pitch. Chases outside, so he's down 0-2. So he has seen 3 pitches so far in this game. All 3 of them he has liked. Sid's got that 4.5 ERA on the year in just the 2 appearances. That has obviously gone down a tad in this start, pending what happens in this inning. A walk to Morales was his 4th on the season. Fastball way off the plate for ball 1 here to Schmidt. Well, in this season series, Falmouth has scored first in 2 of the 3 matchups. They've dropped both of those 2. Runners think about taking off, but a called strike 3 at the knees to Carl Schmidt. That is just the first strikeout of this game for Spencer Sid. But it comes in a big moment to record the first out of the inning. So we're at the top of the 2nd time through the lineup for him. And it comes lefty on righty as well.
Yeah, for Sid, he only has a 3-pitch mix at his disposal. He uses a fastball about 60% of the time, also mixes in a changeup, and that was a slider that you saw that topped 77 miles an hour. He was really trying to work the outer zone on the righty. Schmidt went to it on 3 consecutive pitches, and on the 3rd he gets a called strike 3.
Falmouth still trying to strike first in this bottom of the 3rd inning. Runners stay put. Osterhaus at second, Morales at first, and a changeup below the knees now to Kent Schmidt, who's 0 for 1. Rounded back to the pitcher his first time up. Sid's already got a couple of putouts in this game. He's been consistently in the cleanup spot for Falmouth the last couple of weeks before moving up to the 3-hole for the first time in a while. Grounded right at Lawson. Throw to second base is wide, but still able to keep his foot on the bases. Dalton Wentz. That eliminates the possibility of a throw to first base, so they just get the 3-6 fielder's choice.
I was going to say, Ken Schmidt got very lucky that the throw was a little bit off target by the first baseman in Lawson. Coming off the bat at 85 miles an hour, that looked like a tailor-made inning-ending double play for Brewster, especially with the speed of Schmidt out of the box. Not the best from the left side. Instead, the throw goes wide from Lawson, and runners are on the corners now for one of the Cape League's best hitters, and Micah New.
Jared Soltalamaki out and having a conversation with the umpiring crew. There's going to be a meeting.
I think the only thing that Soltalamaki could be saying was the throw from Lawson went so wide that the shortstop covering and Kursk didn't get a foot to the bag before Morales got there.
He initially went to Austin Priestel, the third base umpire, who was in the second base position for that call. And now there's a meeting between the home plate umpire, Chris Ingstrom, Ryan DeMare at first base, Austin Priestel at third base. They're going to confirm the call, so the runner out at second base. So Antonio Morales will have to head back to the dugout. Osterhaus does get to third. Now Kent Schmidt at first. On the quarters with 2 outs. First time with the runner on third base today. And no one you'd rather have up at the plate than this man, Mike Anu. Team high 21 RBIs on the summer. First pitch outside.
Yeah, look at him, and you got to ask for the Cape League MVP frontrunner right now. Yeah. What does New not do? Again, tied for second in runs scored. League leader slugging, OPS, and hits.
And a lefty on righty matchup on Spencer Sid, who's trying to match his longest appearance of the summer and record this third out to make it 3 full innings. Check at first. Kent Schmidt, especially in this situation, probably not a huge threat to steal second base. Does have a couple on the year, though.
So you never know. He's 4 for 4 on the campaign.
Yeah. 2 for 2 with an RBI yesterday for New. Reached a couple times on a walk as Schmidt makes a jog down to second, and he's trying to bait a throw.
That was going to be my next point. Is make him 5 for 5 now, but I think we could have stolen all 5 of those bases well with Schmidt.
I don't know. I don't move. I don't move like I used to.
You move slower than that?
Maybe. We'd have to see. We'd have to give Kent Schmidt a 50%
you play beach football
jog.
before. It's not crazy.
Yeah, all right. Not crazy. I'll take that as a compliment. Not crazy slow. The pitch was a strike, though, so it's 1-1-2 in scoring position. New early on it. Makes it a 1-2 count. 7 home runs. That leads this team as well. OPS for the first time just dips under 1,000 at 983. A couple of his games after the All-Star break have not been pretty. It feels like for him it's either a 3-hit game or a 3-strikeout game. And more often than not, it's the 3-hit game, but every once in a while we'll struggle with the strikeout. 1-2, thrown in the dirt and staying at the plate. Osterhaus mocking the catcher a little bit, thinking about coming home, but a really nice play by Gerald behind the plate to keep him at third.
Well, I think what Osterhaus has to be saying is, you got to be kidding me. Gerald had no idea where the ball was. Osterhaus knew exactly where it was, but the Clemson backstop was just lucky that when it deflected off his glove, it landed right on home plate. If that goes anywhere else, Osterhaus realizes that Gerald can't find it, and it's the first run in this game.
Deucers are wild. 2-2 count, 2 outs, and a couple in scoring position in the bottom of the third. Change up low. Counts now full, and with first base vacant. I don't know if a walk would be the craziest thing in this situation. With Adrian Lopez, who has not been seeing the ball too well on deck, I should say. New swing and a miss. Strike 3, and just the second strikeout for Spencer Sid, and it leaves a couple runners in scoring position, and a nice smile for Sid walking off the field. A third of the way through, nothing across for either team. Commodores out hitting them 4-1, but the runners in scoring position still at issue. New goes down swinging as we head to the fourth on Cape League TV.
You'll always be safe at home with the Diana Lucevero Group at Compass Real Estate.
Cape Cod 5 is proud to be the official banking partner of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod 5 offers a broad range of financial products and services tailored for every stage in your financial journey. Reach out to us. We're here to help.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support: Cape Space, Cape Cod 5, Cisco Brewers, Cape Cod Healthcare, Hampton Inn, Franklin Sports, Highline Cruises, Jersey Mike's, and of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support.
Hi, I'm Jackson Manesco from Motion City, New Jersey, and I want to give a quick shout out to my mom.
Back at the top of the fourth, fitting for more Doors baseball, and that means some Doors trivia. Now time for the trivia question of the day. When was the last time the Brewster Whitecaps won 2 games in a season at Gov Fuller Field? 2014, 2012, 2019, 2013, and again another one that I know the answer to, so I'm not going to.
Well, our producer Dan Papillo, who goes to Syracuse University with the 2 Brewster Whitecap broadcasters, Sam Reese and Max Gifford. It's going to be the second time that we shout out these awesome game notes from the Brewster guys that had the answer there. So I know the answer. It's going to be B, 2012.
First pitch grounder through the right side, threw for a base hit at a first pitch single, leading off for Maddox Mikalakis. You just ruined the whole point of the trivia question.
I was just about to say.
You just ruined the whole point of the trivia question.
That's my guess. That's my guess. You do this all the time. You say, oh, I know this, and then don't answer. So then when it comes out, you say you know, but you can't call your shot. You can't call your shot.
You led off by saying you knew the answer because of Sam Reese and Max Gifford's question.
Do the homework. So I'm going to say I've heard from these guys. Nope. That my guess is 2012.
I'm not letting you backwalk here.
If you say that you know the answer. I'll tell you after the answer is revealed. Then you can't call the shot.
Fastball left high.
I knew you were going to say that. I let you call the single, and then I was going to bring it back up. I'm glad you did.
I have to get confirmation from somewhere in the booth that I'm not in the wrong here. Thank you. Thank you, Noah Nuts, our beat writer.
Everyone can take their guess. My guess is this, and I gave my reason why.
Dalton Wentz, guys, went deep left. Brumbaugh still going back. Feet on the track, and it'll make the play, sending Michalakis back to first base. So one gone, one on in the top of the fourth with TJ Coates still on the mound. You know what? We'll end here. We'll watch film after this game, and you'll see, okay? I'll leave it at that.
I'll frame it differently next time because I didn't know it would need to be.
You could also, in the same situation, you could also answer the bottom of the fourth inning before the answer is revealed. You can interrupt me, say, "Hey,
no, you
here's
know
what
how
I
we
think
come
the
back
answer."
from break. We have very limited time to do that.
Colin Priest with runner on first takes the fastball outside. 0 for 1 today, grounding to a fielder's choice back in the second. That was the one that Zuckerman almost made a spectacular play, but no chance to make the turn to first. Seen a couple of those fielder's choices at first today. One of them by Brewster first baseman Brendan Lawson as well. So the fastball's high here to Priest. Talked about the first season of his career at Michigan. The second one had its ups and downs and really struggled once postseason play got around. Off move gets a bit away from Zuckerman, but able to run it down before letting the runner get to second. End of the year with a .240 batting average, but an OPS of .887, and he had 17 home runs. So obviously a good season for him, but come up. A lot of Clemson players went cold in the regional. And Priest is going to get first base. Fastball runs in. It is the first batter that TJ Coates has hit. Now 2 on again in an inning for the Whitecaps. Fastball just ran in on the shoulder.
Yeah, 89 miles an hour to the Clemson designated hitter. That fastball will leave a bit of a mark for Colin Priest. Just a second free pass when you add on the walk as well that he issued to Dalton Wentz to lead off the second.
And here is Carson Kirsch, the shortstop. Was 0 for 1, but was on base in the second inning after reaching on an error by Carl Schmidt when he tried to turn a double play and went a little too fast. 1 out, 2 on at the top of the fourth. Swing and a miss. He went way downstairs, tried to get it. Once a great freshman year this past season at Wake Forest, one of the best freshmen in the country. Had an OPS of .988, couple of 3-hit games, and a 3-hit game in his first career start. This one lifted into center. Mike Anu still going back. Will have it at the track on a hop. And runners were both halfway. They're going to have to revert back to their bases. There's a couple of flyouts in this inning. Single and a hit by pitch. Now Gerald's the last hope.
That one goes to about the deepest part of the park for Kirsch, 378 feet into left center field, right in front of the 390-foot wall.
Gerald now 1 for 7 in his start with Brewster after a strikeout in the second inning, but a big opportunity with 2 on base, 1 in scoring position. Still no score in the fourth inning. Breaking ball outside to him. Another guy on the Clemson team who wasn't able to do much once they got to postseason play in the ACC tournament and the regional. Fastball, called strike on the outer third. Coates now sitting at 61 pitches. It is quietly. There's been a decent amount of pitches thrown for him, which is, I think, another reason it feels like less than that is because of how quickly Coates is moving, maybe. Check swing and no appeal needed. Home plate umpire Chris Singstrand said he went around for strike 2. But nonetheless, I think there's a possibility this will be it for him once he gets out of this fourth, if he can get out of the fourth. 1-2, spiked it.
You said second time today that Coates has had 2 runners on, and first time he got out unscathed in the second inning. Now looks to do it again in what's been one of his most complete starts on Cape Cod.
We'll see if he could stay scoreless with Maddox Mikalakis at second, and he will. Swing and a miss. Change up outside, and he got Jacob Gerald to chase. He's got 7 strikeouts through 4, and he stranded another pair of runners in the top of the 4th. Commodores will look for some runs at the bottom of the 4th, but we will stay here for our Red Shirt Friday night Hero of the Game presentation. Back to our public address announcer, William Rosen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you direct your attention to the first base line as we honor our hero of the game. Tonight's hero, Richard Castleberry. Retired Senior Master Sergeant with over 23 years of active Air Force service. 2 isolated overseas assignments, 1 in Greenland and 1 in Vietnam. He is an officer in both the DAV and VFW since arriving in Falmouth in 1983, and his son John served in the active duty Air Force for 4 years in California, Kuwait, and Greenland. His wife Jerry also served with him for 22 years away from home. They now have 5 grown kids with their respective families and a total of 12 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. We say thank you for your sacrifice and service to our nation. And here to present a signed bat from your Falmouth Commodores, Commodores President Bob Curtis. Let's give another warm round of applause and thank you to Richard Castleberry, retired Senior Master Sergeant.
Welcome back here to Gov Fuller Field after the Hero of the Night presentation in the bottom of the 4th. Now time for the Doors trivia answer. And wow, I'm shocked Ryan got it right. The answer was 2012. I never thought Ryan could get the answer right. After admitting that he said he saw the answer on Sam Reese's and Max Gifford's Matt Game
Shout out
Notes.
to them for the 3rd time. They've gotten plenty of shout-outs here. Great stuff again on the Game Notes. We appreciate it. The point of trivia is that our producer, Dan Papillo, makes us a question for us and the audience at home to guess. I'm sorry I didn't phrase it as I saw it here, so my guess is 2012. But that was my guess, and I shared my guess, just like you can share your guess at home with the hashtag Doors Trivia on Twitter. And so they could have guessed something different. I was sharing my guess to the question that I had not seen beforehand.
This is an argument for after the game, and we're going to settle this. We have the film. We have the recording of the broadcast. Adrian Lopez to lead things off at the bottom of the 4th inning. Check swing. They say that he did go around.
My last comment, you know what the biggest equalizer, though, and qualifier is? Our producer, Dan Papillo, is on my side, and that's all I got for it.
Because Dan did not understand the situation. We said we're going to watch it back after the game. One count. Lopez skied high down the left field line. The Lumineers going at it, and just in front of the out-of-play marker will make the play in left field. It's the first action that the Lumineers got in left field today. It retires Adrian Lopez to make him 0 for 2.
Yeah, there's not too much wind here at Gov Fuller Field for this Friday night contest. It is blowing a little bit towards the left field foul pole. That might be what caused the Lumineer to lose his hat. I don't really think it affected the opposite field contact from Lopez, though.
Still Spencer Sid on the mound now for his 4th inning of work, and now he will see the 6th hitter and Ryan Zuckerman, who punches one foul to the first base line. He's 1 for 1. He had a 2-out single back in the 2nd inning, got all the way to 3rd base on a bloop double. You don't hear that a lot, but a bloop double from Bear Harrison. And they got stranded there after Caden Brumbaugh bounced back to the pitcher. Change up low. Falmouth is out hitting Brewster in this scoreless matchup, 3-2. But just the one error for the Commodores. Brewster has not committed an error yet. Beautiful pitch, but just low on a lot of movement.
And remember, of those 3 hits, it was his bottom of the order with Ryan Zuckerman and Bear Harrison that had back-to-back hits in the second inning. The single for Zuckerman first, now then the double for Harrison. That part of the lineup is up here now in the 4th.
2-1, swing and a miss. Thought it might have been strike 3, but with that beautiful pitch before that, but just strike 2 now on Zuckerman, who really has not struck out a whole lot for Falmouth in his first couple of weeks for the Commodores. Just a total of 14 of them. This one, slow chopper, and Wentz will go over to his right, make a high throw that brings Lawson off the bag. E4 on the throwing error for Dalton Wentz. Each team has an error now, and Falmouth's got a base runner at the bottom of the 4th.
The all-star starter Wentz frozen for a moment in what looked like the most routine of routine plays on the ground out to second. Let's take another look at it here. Get off the second chop, gets it and throws it over to Lawson. And yeah, just a little bit high. Lawson's a big guy, but can't keep his foot on the bag.
There's going to be a meeting with Amy Shipcheck. The pitching coach Brian Del Rosso will make his way to the mound. Likely not going to be a pitching change, just a meeting, 3-man meeting between him, Sid, and Gerald.
You look at the active line right now for Spencer Sid, the Georgetown commit. He's thrown 50 pitches, 3 1/3 innings, 3 hits, the 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Big contact guy and good conversation to have now with Brewster.
And home plate umpire Chris Ingstrand will come break up the mound meeting. Falmouth has had a runner on base in 3 of the 4 innings. It was a 1-2-3, 6-pitch inning to start things off for the lefty Sid. And Bear Harrison at the plate, 1 for 1 today with the bloop double. First pitch change up below the knees for ball 1.
Still go back to that win at Harwich. One of the most complete games for Falmouth this season. It was because of Zuckerman and Harrison. Again, both had solo homers. I like them hitting again back to back.
Check swing ran in, and the first base umpire Ryan Demare says he did not go. Harrison's been heating up, and again, we've mentioned it. It's come pretty much hand in hand with the fact that he's getting a lot more playing time rather than the 3-man rotation for the first half of the year, with both Quattrani and McCann now longer on the roster.
And this is a catching room again that you mentioned. Mark Quattrani, who's now at Bourne. David McCann, who is signed as an undrafted free agent by the New York Yankees. So kind of is Harrison being that last man standing and reaping the benefits by getting a lot more time at the plate.
3-0 pitch. Grounded to the right side and off a couple of tough hops. Kurz can't come up with it. Sneaks into left. A single for Bear Harrison. He's 2 for 2 today. And that'll move Zuckerman up to second base. The second time we've seen both of them on base together today. And another opportunity for Caden Brumbaugh with a runner at scoring position. This time just 1 out and the 4th.
That was a slow chopper. That would have been a tough backhand anyways by Carson Kurz. He is a Cape League All-Star. But it's a deserved single for Bear Harrison, who now has half of the hits in this game for Falmouth. It's the 4 hits that it looks like Spencer Sid will give up in this game entirely.
That'll be it for Spencer Sid. Jamie Shevchuk will make his way to the mound to make a call to the bullpen. So, Sid, a nice start, but can't make his way out of the 4th inning. New pitcher on the other end of these messages to inherit runners on first and second here on Cape League TV.
Get ready for big results with our small machines. With more power, performance, comfort, and savings. They are ready for every job. And we're ready with plenty of inventory, the best support in the business, same-day parts availability, and locations across the Northeast. So you can always be ready to work. Milton Cat, always ready.
Introducing Open Cape, the local nonprofit internet service provider in this region. Open Cape's fast and reliable network is 100% fiber optic, providing affordable internet connectivity. To learn more, visit opencape.org and always speak with a live Open Cape representative. Open Cape, providing choice and competition for your home or business and the official internet provider of your Falmouth Commodores.
We are Open Cape.
I'm Trevor Baumler, right-handed pitcher from TCU, and you're watching Commodores baseball on Cape League TV.
Jack DTN takes the mound for Brewster and will inherit runners on first and second. The Xavier Musketeer for this past season. A late addition for the Whitecaps. He's just had one appearance so far, just pitched an inning a couple of games ago. Did not give up a run. The righty spent a lot of time in that Musketeer bullpen a season ago. And Spencer Sid's day is done. 8-9 due up for Falmouth with one out in the inning.
And the former #1 recruit out of Wisconsin. So it goes from Wisconsin over there to Ohio with Xavier. Had a good year with the Musketeers. Big sample size, 17 appearances.
It is a Xavier pitching staff that was a reason that they had a top 3 finish in the Big East and were one of the first teams left out of the NCAA tournament this past spring. First pitch comes in way outside to Brumbaugh. So it is Ryan Zuckerman at second. Bear Harrison at first after the error and the base hit. Book still open for Sid, but the numbers right now are 3 1/3 innings with 4 hits. No runs yet. Gave up a walk and a couple of strikeouts. Swing and a miss on a fastball buried low in the zone. Brumbaugh 0 for 1 today. And 2 runners on last time up, but it was second and third with 2 outs. And he grounded out back to the pitcher. That was back in the second inning.
Big moment for Brumbaugh. Again, the newest Oklahoma Sooners still looking for his first run batted in on Cape Cod.
1-1 fastball upstairs and away. DTN, though, despite the large sample size, did not have a ton of success this past year. In his 17 appearances, he gave up a total of 28 runs. 17 appearances is 17 innings pitched, an ERA of 14.82. 2-1 fastball off the plate, but he's got really good stuff, and some of his tough appearances are against some pretty good teams. He had a 2/3 inning start against Oregon State where he gave up 3 earned, then pitched again against Oregon State in just an inning because he wasn't able to go a full starter's length, gave up 5 earned. He pitched twice against Oregon State early in the year. Pitched 2/3 against LSU and gave up 7 earned. 1 punch down the right field line. A Xavier baseball program that's known for just building the toughest non-conference schedule possible. They had the #1 non-conference strength of schedule this past year before heading into Big East play. So listen to this as we go down. DTN pitched against Oregon State, Stanford, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, LSU, Tulane to start his college career at Xavier. Fastball chopped down the third baseline off a couple of hops for Michalakis. Throw to first, got away. He stepped on third base to get the force out. They're going to wave around the runner from third base as it's all the way towards the Falmouth bullpen. It's out of play, and the run will score. Unless they put it back to third base, and I think that's what they're going to do because Harrison was at first. Again, it was a nice pick at third by Michalakis, and he did step on third to get the force out. Tried to turn a double play. And, yeah, Harrison coming from first base with the ball getting out of play, it's just going to be 2 bags for him.
I was going to say that we've complimented the big man Bear Harrison's running a little bit today. Can't give him all of that to take the turnaround third. That was a good idea by Michalakis. Again, really good scoop. Uses that right foot to throw across the diamond. And, again, just another throw from an infield teammate to Lawson that gets away from the first baseman.
So Harrison back to third base, and up to second now is Brumbaugh with Justin Osterhaus with 2 in scoring position. Change up high for ball 1. Still 2 outs in the inning after he was able to step on third for the force. Osterhaus 1 for 1 today with the single and the third. That's the second error just in this inning for the Whitecaps. Goes outside, now comes back in on the inner third, but catches the zone to make it 1-1. He touched on just the first 7 opponents that DTN faced in his college career. He also had a pitch at the Big East tournament where he gave up a couple of runs to a UConn team who was one of the first 4 out of the NCAA tournament as Osterhaus goes down, tries to get it for strike 2. Down to the count now. I mean, I don't know if I could find another pitcher whose first 7 career starts in college get tougher than Oregon State twice, Stanford, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and LSU. Check swing. Did he go around? No. Says third base umpire is at second base right now.
That's a gauntlet for DTN. 6'2", 190, working on the third base side of the rubber. But he deserved that hype. Again, the top-ranked player coming out of Wisconsin.
It's always tough because obviously it's great to give those guys experience, but at some point does it hurt the confidence? Fastball up and in.
But I think it also depends on the pitcher as well. So you look at DTN, who has that gauntlet of a first season of college baseball, and then he doubles down and comes to Cape Cod to face the best hitters in the country.
That's what you get when you're coming to play for Xavier Baseball, though. They've had a top 3 non-conference strength of schedule in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Fastball, Osterhaus off the end of the bat. Newman initially came up, and it'll go back, but pull it in for out number 3. So Falmouth will leap 2 on base for the 3rd straight inning. And Jack DTN gets the job done for Brewster. As we are through 4, still no score, but 6 combined hits, 3 combined errors here from Gov Fuller Field at Cape League TV.
You'll always be safe at home with the Diana Lucevero Group at Compass Real Estate.
Cape Cod 5 is proud to be the official banking partner of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod 5 offers a broad range of financial products and services tailored for every stage in your financial journey. Reach out to us. We're here to help.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support: Cape Space, Cape Cod 5, Cisco Brewers, Cape Cod Healthcare, Hampton Inn, Franklin Sports, Highline Cruises, Jersey Mike's, and of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support.
Hi, I'm Jackson Manesco from Motion City, New Jersey, and I want to give a quick shout out to my mom.
Falmouth will open the door to the bullpen as we've reached the 5th inning from Gov Fuller Field. They had Leif Palmer making another relief appearance in relief of T.J. Coates. For the Commodores so far, just 3 appearances. 2 of them have been starts, so it's his 2nd relief appearance on the year. And he's got an ERA that sits at 9, just 1 bad appearance that's kind of skyrocketed that a little bit. 7 earned in 7 innings pitched.
Yeah, the big righty after 2 seasons at Oregon State, making that transfer over to Cal Poly. You mentioned the inflated ERA. That's because of the poor start he had at Wareham last time out. Goes just 2 innings, gives up 5 earned runs. Walked 1, struck out 2. The big ending there was the 3-run homer that he gave up early into that game in the 2nd inning. That really jostled his confidence, I thought, for the rest of that appearance against the Gatemen.
Scott Newman will lead things off. It's 9-1-2, the first 3 batters that Palmer will face here in top 5. Nobody scored yet. A lot of runners left on base, though, and a combined 6 hits and 3 errors. First pitch almost hit Scott Newman. It ran in, and maybe it did. We're going to say that fastball hit him on the side, and 1 pitch into Palmer's appearance, he lets a runner on base. He's trying to bounce back from that Wareham start, but hitting the 9-hitter is not going to help that.
Yeah, and just the first pitch, runs inside at 90 miles an hour. You may not believe it in a scoreless game, but that's now 3 of the 5 innings in which Brewster gets the leadoff man on.
Yeah. T.J. Coates was very good in damage control in his 4 innings of work. It's the lefty Adam Magpok and the leadoff hitter with a runner on first and no one on. Runner takes off. Magpok swings away out of play for strike 1. It's 2 strikeouts for Magpok. He was One of 6 strikeout victims of Coates. And a 7 total, of course, because Magpok had 2 of them. And his batting average down to right about the Mendoza line at 200. Sitting at 206 right now as a leadoff hitter. Throw over to first to check on Newman, who can run. He's got 3 stolen bases at 4 attempts this year. Bunt attempts, goes back foul. That'll more than likely eliminate the bunt as Magpok's down 0-2. It was a 3-pitch strikeout the first time he came up to the plate. That started off the game, trying to avoid another one of those. And a hat trick for the newest San Diego State Aztec. Well, 2 out of the stretch, runs high. One of the good numbers for Palmer, though, despite the 9 ERA, is 8 strikeouts to 3 walks in 7 innings, which is interesting, too, because he made a lot of his money at Oregon State this past year. Was very good, but did not do it with the strikeout ball. Fastball punched off the end of the bat into left center, going back, and a diving play by Brumbaugh can't make it. New's got to pick it up on the track. Rounding third, trying to score is Newman. There's a throw to the plate, just off the plate, an RBI double, and the Brewster Whitecaps have the lead. Adam Magpok breaking out in a big way.
Yeah, big hit from Magpok after striking out his first 2 plate appearances. Shooting into the left center field gap. I loved the relay from New to Lopez to home. You see this piece of hitting just the other way for Magpok. Doesn't do too much. I thought that it would have been Scott Newman dead in his tracks, Ben, rounding third going home. When Lopez caught the cutoff, it was Newman barely around third base, but Lopez's throw in just goes to the other side of home plate with the catcher Harrison.
Brendan Lawson, first pitch, swinging down the first base slide. It's RBI number 6 on the year for Magpok. Consistently in the leadoff spot, doesn't have a ton of those opportunities, but the extra base hit will do it. And you do ask yourself, though, one, if Brumbaugh doesn't dive for that ball, is there a chance that Newman doesn't score? And then also, 2, even if he does dive for it and New doesn't have trouble with it at the track, if he scores anyway. But we'll never know the answer to those questions. Base hit number 3 on the game for Brewster.
Well, again, it's Brumbaugh learning a new position in left field and a new position with the Commodores, primarily used the middle infield for Nebraska this past season. I thought that was dead left center, just to the left of the Defaney Builders Incorporated sign in left center. So it was a good backup by New. I like the risk with making the dive for Brumbaugh.
Lopez covers at second, backs off. Palmer almost threw it to the backstop. Lawson 0 for 2 today, a strikeout and a fly to left back in the third inning. He has not had many hitless games, but one of them was last game against YD. He went 0 for 2. Did have a couple batted in, though. RBI ground out, a sac fly. Change up below the knees, now ahead of the count to make it 2-1. It's the first time the Commodores have been 4 games under 500 this season. They're 13-17-1. Big swing and a miss, Steven at 2-2. Came back with the high heat.
Glad you bring that up because, of course, you got the Wareham Gatemen coming to town. They're really hitting their stride right now with the West Division leading 34 points. It's third best on Cape Cod as well. So a win today against this Brewster Whitecaps team that's also struggling is big before that one on Saturday against the Gatemen.
Throw over to second, back in there safely. And, of course, it's a last-place tie for the Commodores. But the team they're tied with, the Harbor Hawks, have a 3-0 lead over Bourne in the bottom of the 4th. They also have the bases loaded right now with 2 outs. That one grounded just past Magpok. The throw will go to third base, and they got him. Whoa, no, did they? They're going to say got under the tag, and Carl Schmidt doesn't understand it. Jared Saltalamacchia doesn't either. I'd have to take a look at that to know, but the throw was definitely in time. It's just about the slide from Magpok.
My question, did the third base umpire Presell think that Schmidt dropped the ball on the tag when he pointed to the ground? This has been a couple times now that Saltalamacchia came out to have a word with his umpiring crew. This replay should show it here. Lopez throws it over the tag. I'm not sure what they're looking at there.
I don't know. I'd love to hear the explanation from the third base umpire, Austin Priestel, and interference apparently was called.
Is the point that Schmidt was obstructing Magpok's access to the third base bag by trying to apply the tag?
So if you don't have the ball, once you have the ball, you can really do anything you want in front of the bag. But if you do not have the ball, you cannot be obstructing the bag. And I guess that's what they're saying Schmidt did. So everybody's safe. Magpok now at third base. That lets Lawson get up to first. They're on the corners now with just no outs. Swing and a miss from Brendan Lawson. I'd love to look at that again. Again, Lopez goes to third the easy way, and I like the decision.
You're going to stay right now. Schmidt's position before he tries to catch it.
Yeah, I guess
I see it.
Yeah, I don't know if he really left an avenue before having the ball for Magpok. And Palmer balks. I mean, just a blatant balk. Tried to throw over to third, but didn't actually throw it. That is, we talk about balks being hard to kind of understand, one of the hardest rules to understand in baseball. That's an easy one right there. And just rain fart there for Palmer.
Yeah, I think if you're
and
Palmer,
a run will score.
Just throw over to Schmidt. Single angle there, keeps it in his pocket. And
Can't do that, yeah.
Immediately he knew what he did.
It's a 2-0 Brewster lead, still with nobody out in the inning. Lawson also moves up to second base with Brody to Lamalier at the plate. And Lamalier's got just one RBI in his first 9 plate appearances as a Whitecap. Goes down on 3 pitches, though, as Palmer starts to settle in and gets his first strikeout and the first out that he records here of the 5th. So we'll try to debrief here. That's ruled Lawson reaching on a fielder's choice. But again, not necessarily going to be an error on that play for Falmouth, but it was Schmidt blocking the bag, and then a balk with the Lamalier at the plate.
Here's something that Commodores fans do want to hear, though, as you do some recapping. Again, it's Leif Palmer who started this top of the 5th inning, meaning the day is over for TJ Coates, and it was a great one. 4 innings pitched, gives up just 2 hits. None scored, 1 walk to 7 strikeouts.
Mikalakis so one, fouled down the third baseline. That'll get out of play towards the left field grassy hill. Had a leadoff single back in the 4th inning that eventually got stranded there after fly out to center in his first appearance. So Palmer gets strikeout number 9 at 4 appearances on the Cape. Fastball grounded foul. Had one late, this one early, and he's at a 0-2 hole. Palmer making the change this offseason from Oregon State to Cal Poly. This at one time with Palmer and Mikalakis was a Pac-12 matchup. Arizona and Oregon State a couple of years ago when the conference was still around. Sent to the right side, and Osterhaus will pick it up, make a soft throw over to first. Productive out, though. Lawson gets over to third base. So a third run 90 feet away for Brewster, but 2 outs in the inning, and a 5-hitter Dalton Wentz coming to the plate. And you got to think, obviously, situation's different. Maybe the infield's in, but run probably scores anyway on that grounder. Although, with the runner at first base, that could have been a double play. I don't know. Play the what-if game all you want. Nice ball called strike on the outer part. Wentz has reached once with a walk. Also flied out to left. Heading into his sophomore year at Wake Forest. A couple of seasons ago, he had maybe one of the best senior year of high school seasons I've ever seen, where he had a on-base percentage of .711. He reached base 71% of the time. I know high school numbers always inflated. I still don't think I've seen that, though. And he rolled that into a .316 batting average his freshman year at Wake. Roped foul under the first base seats.
He just continued it on as well. And a .233 average doesn't tell the whole story for Dalton Wentz, who is the lone Brewster Whitecap to start this past Saturday's All-Star game for the East Division.
Better crowd than we maybe expected with the weather the way it was just a couple hours before first pitch. Swing and a miss. Palmer goes upstairs for his second strikeout to strand a runner. But at the top of the fifth, Brewster takes the lead on a couple awkward plays, an interference in there, a balk to get the second, but an RBI double from Adam Magpok is the highlight. It's 2-0 Whitecaps halfway through this one on Cape League TV.
There's a 0 chance that you'll want to miss our 0% for 72 months offer. For a limited time, CAD is offering 0% on the purchase of many new small excavators. That's 0% for better performance, 0% for next generation features.
Great machine. It's quite impressive.
0% for work tools too, but there's a 0% chance this offer will last. So contact Milton Cap before there's 0 time left.
David McCann from Fairfield, Connecticut, and I'd like to give a special shout out to my parents.
Halfway through the fifth inning here at Gulf Fuller Field, a 2-0 Brewster Whitecaps lead, and as always, we appreciate you joining us here on Cape League TV, where you can join all the action all season long by downloading the Cape League TV app on your mobile device and favorite TV streaming platform. You can now watch the Doors on your Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TVs. Cape League TV provides live and on-demand coverage of all games and featured content from the nation's best summer collegiate baseball league. Get in the game now with Cape League TV. Alongside Ben Haller, I'm Ryan Martin, back for this one, home half of the fifth, in the second inning of work that we see for Jake Tatine, the rising sophomore at Xavier. Faces 1, 2, and 3 in the Commodores order, and starts with Antonio Morales. 2-run Brewster lead after just one hit was needed for the Whitecaps in the top of the fifth to plate the first 2 runs in this game. And Ben, it was a quiet first 4 innings. That was the biggest spark we saw specifically. How about Adam Magpok with the RBI double?
Yeah, it has been one of those games where, again, just Falmouth not being able to put things together. Obviously a lot of baseball left to be played, but now the pitching finally started to come around. A couple errors, the defensive struggles, but it's not as bad as yesterday. And now the offense goes to sleep a little bit, and it's been the same issues on the offensive side with the runners at scoring position.
First batter the team faces in the fifth inning is Antonio Morales, Norfolk, Massachusetts native, heading to the University of Maryland after 2 years at Wake Forest. He announced his commitment right before the Cape League season started on June 13th. He'll reunite with 2 Wake Forest teammates there, in Liam Wilson and Adam Butcher, as he goes to second base. Over to first in time for out number 1.
We have seen just some clean defense from Brewster today. Not top 10 plays, but just really clean. Couple of hops, still able to make the play. Plays that, you know, these high-level college players probably should, but that's exactly why this league is the league it is.
Move Morales to go for 2 today. Let's have a walk sandwich in the middle of that. Here's Carl Schmidt versus the team. Interested to see the bounce back for Carl Schmidt. He's still looking for his first hit in this game. And he committed the interference over at third base in the last half inning that allowed Magpok to get to third base. Keep that top of the fifth going. Schmidt dumps one into left center field. It'll get down in front of the center fielder Newman. It gets past Newman's glove, but not far enough away for Schmidt to think about second. A 1-out single for the California third baseman.
Well, he makes up for a mistake on the field by that nice base hit. Something that Schmidt's done, an up-the-middle approach all year long. Seems like hard pressed to find a game where he has a ton of offers. 300 batting average now with his first base hit today.
Schmidt's on the 5th hit of the day for the Commodores. You'd be hard-pressed to find this, too. That's the first hit for any Commodore batting 1 through 5 today between Morales, Carl Schmidt, Ken Schmidt, Mike Anu, and Adrian Lopez, as we now see Ken Schmidt into the lefty box. No relation to Carl Schmidt over at first base. We'll get a look and throw over from the team. This is a loaded top of lineup for the Commodores, as we mentioned. The first 5 who were hitless before Carl Schmidt, they were all Cape League All-Stars this past Saturday. 5 of a league-high 9 Commodores. That was featured at Red Wilson Field in that All-Star game.
I think collectively that group of 5 at the top, maybe you throw in Justin Osterhaus too, have been, whatever they go, this Falmouth team goes. The kind of up and down nature is very even with the whole team's win-loss up and down nature so far.
Now goes to a ball and a strike on Schmidt. Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, the designated hitter today. And out of those 5 Commodores who start the order today and were all Cape League All-Stars, 3 were starters, including Kent Schmidt, who occupied first base for the West Division. Another thrower from Deteen. Schmidt, a Marietta, Georgia native, spent his freshman season at Georgia Southern, just completed his first year of ACC baseball playing at Georgia Tech. He was tremendous there, led the conference with a .397 average. Schmidt was crawling back to first base for a second, but got ahead of the tag from Lawson.
Yeah, Brewster's starting to make some noise. They really wanted that call. It was close. That's a nice, strong pickup move and a quick one from the team.
All those throws over. Still 1 ball and a strike to Kent Schmidt. The team's pitch. Schmidt so far today, as you mentioned, is a 1 through 5. Hasn't been good for Saltilamakia in Game 32 of the Cape League season. Schmidt's part of that. He's 0 for 2 with a ground out to end the first and reach on a fielder's choice in the third. The team's 1-2. It's a fastball for called, strike 3. Schmidt can't believe it, but it's the first strikeout on the day for Jack Deteen. There's 2 outs now in the home half of the 5th.
That's a tough one, but 2 strikes, you got to swing at that. And Kent Schmidt's been somebody who hasn't had issues with that all year long. He's one of the most disciplined hitters on this Falmouth team. Doesn't strike out a whole lot.
Just the 3rd strikeout for this Commodores lineup today, compared to 9 for Brewster. There's a guy who does have some strikeout issues of his own, Micah New. But that is one issue with a lot of pluses. The Cape League MVP frontrunner. Swings through a first pitch for Micah New. Still a .317 average.
Yeah, New is just someone who has been ultra aggressive this summer going after pitches, and pitchers haven't quite learned. Even yesterday, it's not even just at the plate swinging the pitches. It's like every time he's on base, he's going to take off for second, too. And he's been successful for the most part, but did get caught stealing yesterday.
New so far today is 0 for 2. Fly out in the second and a strikeout in the third. Does have 33 strikeouts to his name now in the summer. That's 4th most on Cape Cod. But the pluses are endless with New. Ground this one over to the third baseman, and Mikolakis across the diamond. Lawson tries to keep his foot on the bag, and does for out number 3. Carl Schmidt reaches on a 1-out single, but can't get past the first base bag after that. A good inning for Jack Deteen on the mound. Keeps us a 2-0 Brewster lead entering the 6th inning, right here on Cape League TV.
Hi, I'm Jim Murray, owner of Falmouth's historic Clam Shack, now Jim's Clam Shack. Located on scenic Falmouth Harbor, Jim's Clam Shack is a destination for the best seafood and sunsets on the Cape. We're open 7 days a week, so stop by for lunch or join us for dinner on the rooftop deck. Bring the entire family to try our wide selection of seafood and kid-friendly option. We deliver the freshest products to your plates daily. Jim's Clam Shack, a proud supporter of the Falmouth Commodores.
Hi, I'm Michael Kasparian, President of the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is here for the benefit of the whole community. Whether you're a local business or a visitor, Falmouth has endless offerings, from its beautiful beaches and historical sites to its local shopping and eateries. The Chamber bridges the 8 villages, providing visitors with all the tools to make their trip one to remember. Our visitor center is located in downtown Falmouth, just off of Main Street. Come by and meet our team. The Falmouth Chamber of Commerce, your community connection.
I'm Adrian Lopez. I'm an infielder from the University of Southern California, and you're watching Commodore Baseball on Cape League TV.
Top of the 6th inning with the sun fully set in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and And at Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field, the 2-0 Brewster Whitecaps lead over Falmouth in Game 32 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. Back alongside Ben Haller, I'm Ryan Martin, saying thanks so much for spending your Friday night with us here on Cape League TV. And a look around outside of Falmouth. It's a big night, especially with just 8 games left in the Cape League season. One of the biggest scores you look at right now, Hyannis up 10-0 over Bourne right now at McKeon Park. That game only the top of the 5th, but it could be called early. And if Hyannis wins that, again, remember, Hyannis, Falmouth, 27 points. They're tied for the West Division's lowest team right now. That would move Hyannis up in the standings, and a loss for Falmouth here would put Falmouth in sole possession of 5th place. One to watch out for. Early second inning work with Leif Palmer earns a big swing and a miss on the first pitch delivered to Colin Priest.
And of course, just 4 teams in each division making the playoffs. That is the most important standing, the most important difference in the standings is 4th and 5th with the playoff implications.
You know, 2 teams you don't have to tell that twice to. It's Falmouth and Brewster, the 2 teams who each missed the playoffs in 2024.
Each team has responded in different ways this current season. Brewster, though, they've spent maybe more time than any other team in first place just in terms of quantity of time or quantity of games at first place, but they're not really far away from last either right now. Chatham is a very capable team who's still a game over 500 in last place of the East Division.
And you look at these 2 rosters from last year, might not necessarily be the player makeup that you thought would make the Cape League playoffs. Falmouth had some good talent, especially Brewster, too. I think Ryder Helfrich, Brody Done, both Cape League All-Stars. Brewster team that rode the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in 2024. It's just a poor July, and that Brewster couldn't get out of the East Division. That's how this league goes sometimes. You see the poor June that Harwich had last year, end up getting hot at just the right moment, and then they become Cape League champions. 2-2 to Priest. And he's slapped into left field. Brumbaugh towards the foul line, puts the glove up, and pulls down out number 1.
Rumbaugh's looked pretty natural out there in left field. I mean, maybe you want to say he shouldn't have dove at that ball. He had a Magbach double back in the 5th, but overall, looks like someone who's played 56 games of left field this past year at Nebraska, where he did not.
You mentioned atop the broadcast the 3rd consecutive game where Brumbaugh gets a start in left field. Saltamaki trying to find a home for him there before Brumbaugh finds a new home at Oklahoma. First pitch grounded by Carson Kearse right up the middle for a base hit. It's Kearse's first hit of the day and puts a runner on with 1 out in the top of the 6th.
Both of these teams have attacked early in counts, and it's really benefited the pitchers for the most part, keeping their pitch count down. Sometimes, though, when you're attacking early in counts, it usually means you're getting pitches you like. It's very hard to attack early on some of the best pitchers just because, you know, those pitches are hard to hit, and you as a hitter want to see more, but just a fastball middle that he sends up the middle.
I say Kearse got the perfect barrel to a ball, which brings up another Clemson Tiger in Jacob Jarrell. You look at that hit right up the middle for Kearse. Maybe if Palmer was a lefty and falling to the other side, he'd get a glove to it for a simple ground out. Instead, it puts Carson Kearse on, first hit in this game since the 1-run double for Adam Magbach in the 5th inning. So here's Jacob Jarrell, getting the Clemson catcher. He's 0 for 2 so far today. 2 strikeouts swinging. 2 of the 9 so far today for Brewster as he clubs this one into left center field. Entering shallow and will drop for a base hit again. Kearse takes a mini turnaround second, won't go anywhere from there. The exact wrong position you wanted to see the ball land if you were Falmouth. It's back-to-back hits for Brewster in the 6th.
We've seen a lot of bloop hits, and it's not, one side or the other. We've seen them for both teams today. And now that's 10 hits on the day for just a total of 2 runs. It feels like a lot of Falmouth games have had that same story.
And that one was, you could tell off the bat, it just hit the end part and would drop into the exact wrong spot for the Commodores. Second hit of the summer for Jacob Jarrell in just his 3rd game on Cape Cod. Brings up the 9-hole hitter in Scott Newman. He scored the first run of this game after being hit by a pitch an inning ago. Carson Kearse at second. Jacob Jarrell at first base for Scott Newman in this 2-run Brewster lead. Meaningful game for both teams. Commodores 4 games under 500 for the first time all season. And Brewster's lost 6 of its last 8. They could really use a win in a top-heavy East Division.
Yeah, they could. We said it's no, downhill climb. It's all uphill for them. Chatham, though, did lose. They're 13-15-3 now. It's just 29 points. So
Newman sends one the opposite way to right center field. This one should drop, and does, right in the head of the wall. Going from second to home is Carson Kearse. Jacob Gerald's right behind him getting the wave home. Throw gets into Osterhaus. He'll go home with it. Harrison keeps it in front of him. But it's a 2-run double by Scott Newman. He scored the first run of this game. Now he's responsible for runs 3 and 4. It's a 4-0 Brewster lead.
yeah, Palmer's just catching too much of the zone right now. And Newman, how about RBI's number 2 at 3 of the summer for him? Not a ton of starts for Brewster so far. Is one of their late additions. He just drove that ball. The infield was playing in. Antonio Morales had to make a long run. And he's someone who covers a lot of ground and right, but still didn't have a chance on that ball.
Great piece of hitting for Scott Newman. Puts him in scoring position at second base for Adam Magpok, who also doubled just an inning ago. That was the first run batted in this game. And for Newman, that's the first double he has on Cape Cod in his 10th game played. Just his second extra base hit. He's also got a triple to his resume. Falmouth now chasing by 4. Check swing from Magpok and over to third base. It's a head nod from Austin Presell saying that Magpok went around.
We haven't brought this up kind of unironically because of our debacle earlier in the game. But back to that trivia question, it was an interesting question where it's been 13 years since the last time that Brewster has won 2 games here at Gov Fuller Field. And not only would it be 2 at the Gov, it would be a 4-game sweep on the season for the Whitecaps over the Commodores. You go back to the first game again where we talked about the Commodores had a 2-run lead heading into the 9th here at the Gov.
And this has been a bit of a record-breaking Brewster team so far this year. Whitecaps started 6-0 for the first time in recent memory since they've been tracking those beginning standings. There's a strikeout for Leif Palmer. He sits down the leadoff man Adam Magpok for out number 2.
Again, this Palmer we're seeing, and obviously very small sample size so far on the Cape, is just kind of an exact opposite of the Palmer we saw at Oregon State this past year. He's getting hit pretty hard here on the Cape, but not really walking a lot of batters, and he is striking out a lot of batters. This is Oregon State where he had the command under control. Didn't strike out a ton, but didn't really let a lot of runners score. Induced a lot of weak contact.
I'm going to get those last few innings in as Palmer before making the transfer to Cal Poly. We talked about that transfer with Palmer, both at the Meet the Coaches event, one of the Commodores' off day, and when Palmer was just newly signed by the Commodores. He said just he loves the coaches and the development that they bring. He's trying to develop under Saltzmakia and first-year pitching coach Todd Carroll before becoming a Mustang. But still Newman at second base. 4-0 Whitecaps lead in time for Brendan Lawson. So far today, he's 0 for 3. Pitch runs inside on Lawson, and it'll be the second batter. Leif Palmer plunks. Now 2 on, 2 outs for Brody Delamandelier.
Yeah, it's some of those just frustrating 1 pitches for Palmer. A couple of hit by pitch, a couple of pass balls, and the balk is the one I looked to back in the last inning that let a run score, where he made a motion like he was throwing to third, but he kept it. Kind of pump fakes towards third base. You can't do that.
And Palmer, pretty big confidence guy with the shifts and stuff. Remember in Wareham, heard some chirps from the Gateman dugout, then gives up the 3-run homer. You think of that balk, it's been a bit of a downhill fall for Palmer since. Here's Delamalier. 2 on base. This one will go foul for the Florida State left fielder. So far, 1 for 3 in this game. A single in the first, and then back-to-back strikeouts since. Delamalier, a rising redshirt sophomore at Florida State, coming from an athletic family. His grandfather, Richard, played at the University of Michigan, was a minor leaguer with the Twins. And then his cousin, Joe Lamalier, was a 7-time All-Pro guard. He's a 2003 Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, is 2.
There are not a lot of, that's not a very common last name of Delamalier, so you know that Joe Delamalier is related here to Brody, and like I said, very athletic family.
There's a 1-2 to the Seminole. Runs inside to even the count.
I think always the biggest test of it, a real athletic family too, is just the ability to do it in different sports, like baseball and football.
Two very different sports. You think about coming from the lineage of an all-pro guard, now being a starting outfielder. Ground this one over to Lopez. It'll bounce off of his glove. Getting away from second. Scott Newman will come home. And in left field, Brumbaugh keeps it in his pocket. It's 5-0 Whitecaps.
That's 4 of them for Lopez in the last 2 games.
Another error, second of the game for this Commodores team. Just a couple hops off the bat for Delamelier.
Well, I mean, this is just a cat and mouse effect. All 3 of Lopez's errors yesterday were all throwing, one of them to third base, 2 of them to first base. This time, you know, after those mistakes, you're trying to make sure you get the throw right, and you just speed yourself up a little bit, not making sure you look that ball in and hit that ball in the glove. Just rushed it too much. Another play that Lopez should have made.
So here's the Arizona lefty, Maddox Michalakis. Runners on the corners now, a 5-0 Brewster lead. Whitecaps have done all their damage in the last 2 innings. Michalakis swings at the first pitch he sees. First base umpire Ryan Damari says it goes foul right before Ryan Zuckerman in the first base bag.
And there are just these innings that get away from Falmouth every single time they play Brewster. It feels like no matter what the score is, anytime they go under. And I think that's the right call. Obviously, you can't really tell from the angle behind home plate.
You think about the one and only other time that Brewster was here at Gulf Fuller Field, a 6-3 win during the Commodores' home opener. And it was all because of a 4-run top of the 9th for Brewster. Whitecaps go into the inning with down 3-1, but then Brewster puts on 4 in the 9th. Nothing Falmouth can do in the bottom of the inning. 0-2 to Michalakis. It's just low. Michalakis, a rising senior at Arizona, originally from Hopkins, Minnesota. Makes that move out west. It's worked out for him. He was just named to the Big 12 Championship All-Tournament team after a good season for Arizona, where they won that Big 12 tournament title. Runner goes on the 1-2. That's skied into center field by Michalakis. Mike Anu takes a few steps to his left and in front for out number 3. Damage is done, though, for Brewster, who after a 2-run top of the 5th, add 3 more in the 6th. That's all the runs we've seen in this game overall. 5-0 Whitecap lead entering the home half right here on Cape League TV.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just one click away.
It's an honor to support the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store located at 147 T-Ticket Highway and try a slice today.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support. 99 Restaurants, Badger Sports, The Baldwin Group, Bluebird Dennisport, Bridgewater State University, Cape Destinations, and of course,
home half of the 6th inning with the Brewster Whitecaps in town and up 5-0 over the Falmouth Commodores. There's a new pitcher on the mound for Brewster, but there's also a position player for the Whitecaps that has a bit of a familiar name. The third member of our team, Andrew Delapiana, has more on this story. Andrew?
Yeah, Ryan, you should know better than anyone. That is your namesake, Ryan. He got to meet you earlier this ball game, and you guys sharing a special moment with your namesake. That's not even the best part, guys. Let's take a look at tonight's Tale of the Tape by the 2 Ryan Martins. Yes, that's Ryan Martin Brewster on the right. 2 years of experience for Falmouth Ryan Martin, just the one so far for Ryan Martin Brewster, guys. We like to have our fun here on these broadcasts, and for Ryan to meet his namesake, that's good stuff. Guys?
Much, Andrew. Appreciate that right there. Yeah, it was great to meet Ryan Martin beforehand. Going to Dallas Baptist this coming spring. I don't know if he got to meet me. I think I got to meet Ryan Martin after being heard so much about.
Give yourself credit, man.
My namesake right there, I guess, right? A fun moment here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. It's been a fun game so far. Thanks so much, Andrew, for that feature. That graphic I didn't know was coming here.
Well done by Andrew.
That was a good hit. That was a great hit. Credit to our producer, Dan Papillo, and Andrew for the creativity.
I like the Ryan Martin meeting you. I like the namesake. I don't know if that's exactly why your name is Ryan
I was going to say
Martin.
that you got to go. I think that's conflicting. Here's Adrian Lopez off the end of the bat.
I also like the more Cape League experience for you than the other Ryan Martin. You're a two-year guy here in Falmouth.
Very fortunate to be in my second summer on Cape Cod. One of the honors of my life so far. 5-0 Brewster entering the home half of the sixth inning. Their first-year Cape guy, and Adrian Lopez from the right side, the USC shortstop, 0 for 2 so far today. Quick word from home plate umpire Chris Engelstrand, but not addressing the batter, and that is going to the pitcher in Mitch Dye. The rising sophomore at Illinois, making the second appearance on Cape Cod with Brewster.
Couple of Illinois pitchers on this Brewster team, and Mitch Dye, someone who pitched a lot last year. Again, another kind of guy like the teen whose ERA isn't exactly what you'd want it to be, but 21 appearances, got to throw to the fire.
Corrected there after 2 years at Springfield and 1 year in the Big Ten at Illinois. A rising senior for Mitch Dye. 6'3", 195. Again, just his second appearance on Cape Cod. In his first game in, pitched an inning and a third of scoreless baseball. This time Lopez sends it the opposite way into right field. Couple turns with the hips for Magpok, but gets it on the run for out number 1.
Yeah, and this is where it gets frustrating for Lopez. Obviously, the defensive frustrations are there, and there's no one to blame but himself. But offensively, he's putting really good bat on ball. We saw it yesterday. He had an extra base hit taken away from him by star left fielder John LeGrande for Bourne. But a couple of deep flyouts in this one.
Does taken away from him do him enough justice to catch that LeGrande made?
I don't know.
Full airborne. He fell over the wall at Dorn Park in left field. Kidding me?
That's a shorter fence at Doran.
Fair.
But still, LeGrande makes plays that I didn't even know were possible from any level.
Guy who's hitting it better than many know are possible is Ryan Zuckerman. He'll swing through strike 2, though, here. Commodores still chasing by 5 after a 2-run 5th, followed up by a 3-run 6th by Brewster. The Whitecaps want these 2 points, so do Falmouth. So far, it's the visitors from Brewster being in command. 2 to Zuckerman, just outside.
Look, I mean, it's going to be a fun finish. You thought, obviously, it's different circumstances. You really would have hoped, going back 2.5 weeks ago when they were tied for first place, Falmouth was, that it would be a battle for first or second place in the division. Now it's a battle to make the playoffs.
Just talking with Commodores manager Jared Saltamacchia on the 5th episode of the Monday Morning Manager Show this past weekend at Harwich. Between his 3 years in Bourne and 1 season with Falmouth, he says this is the closest division race that he's seen on Cape Cod. 2-2 is swung through by Zuckerman. His first strikeout today, first for Mitch Dye, is the second out in the home half of the 6th.
I've spent a lot of time thinking about why that is, and I think overall the answer, the overarching answer is just the fact that every year there's more and more talent here on the Cape. And I think another factor that kind of goes into it is the NIL coming in. Less guys are going to the MLB draft, hearing their names called instead going back to college. You've seen a decent amount of guys here on the Cape who probably in most years would have been drafted, but have more, more reasons to go back to school than they did in the past. I mean, look at someone like Henry Ford, who was projected to be a top 3 pick in this past MLB draft. Did not get selected.
No. Mike Anu as well, someone going from Marshall to Arkansas. An MLB team says, we like the talent there, someone who's certainly worthy of being drafted. As you take a look at Mitch Dye and Kyle Harrison here. But both Ford going to Tennessee and It's New going to Arkansas. We'll do better. And there, Harrison swings through. A strike. Mitch Dye looking to get out of his first inning of work. Facing the minimum. His 1-2 to Harrison. Swing and a miss. Second straight strikeout for Mitch Dye. Sits down the Commodores in order. Not what Falmouth wanted, to cut into this 5-run deficit. Now Brewster looks to add on it as we're 2/3 of the way through, right here on Cape League TV.
Hi, my name is Matt Burgess, General Manager here at Falmouth Country Club. We have a unique 27-hole public golf course with a beautiful layout that is family-oriented. Kids play free here at Falmouth Country Club. Getting on the course is quick and easy with our app. You can book tee times, get yardages with GPS, use our interactive scorecard, track your stats, and receive exclusive in-app offers. Falmouth Country Club is a true Cape Cod classic and a local family favorite.
See you on the course.
Hi, I'm Michael Kasparian, President of the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is here for the benefit of the whole community. Whether you're a local business or a visitor, Falmouth has endless offerings, from its beautiful beaches and historical sites to its local shopping and eateries. The Chamber bridges the 8 villages, providing visitors with all the tools to make their trip one to remember. Our visitor center is located in downtown Falmouth, just off of Main Street. Come by and meet our team. The Falmouth Chamber of Commerce, your community connection.
Hi, I'm Zach Johnston from Cumberland, Maine. I'd like to give a special shout out to my host parents, Paula and John, for being great people.
Welcome to the 7th inning from beautiful Falmouth, Massachusetts here in Cape Cod. A 5-0 Brewster lead over the Commodores, and this is how we got there. Again, it was a 2-run top of the 5th for Brewster, followed by a 3-run top of the 6th, and it was after a great outing from the new Georgetown Hoya and Spencer Sid. He goes 3 1/3 innings scoreless. 4 hits, 2 strikeouts were big for him. Newman at the bottom of the lineup had the double and pair of runs batted in, and now we'll see the 3rd inning of work for Leif Palmer.
Another one of those games where it's just you can't bring in everything together. The 5 runs I don't think is telling. The defense has been an overarching issue, but the pitching's been better. Feels like better than 5 runs in 6 innings. Still, just no offense in this game for the Commodores.
First to face Palmer is Dalton Wentz.
You're just heading to dangerous territory. I mean, there's nobody to blame but themselves with the way things are shaking out.
Wentz 0 for 2 today and 0 for his last 13. Looking to break out of a slump after starting for the East Division in the Cape League All-Star game this past Saturday. Again, the last hit for Wentz, officially or unofficially, came in that All-Star game. A solo homer off of Falmouth's Trevor Balmer. And this one is clubbed to right field. Sends Morales back, but again, facing to the right, makes the catch on the run for out number 1.
Well, for all the defensive miscues that this Falmouth team has had recently, still Antonio Morales impresses me more and more each day in right field. Just because he's someone who, again, has not played a whole lot of right field in his baseball career, you need to make a quick read on that baseball. That's hard hit back at him. Obviously, he had a really good chance at it, but had to make the right decision first to move back. A step up to start, I don't think you have a chance at it.
And after 2 seasons at Wake Forest, again, it's Morales going from the Demon Deacons to the Terps of Maryland, with Colin Priest now into the batter's box. He saw a good time in the ACC for Wake Forest. 34 games in each of his 2 seasons there, but was primarily used as a second baseman. He's making a case and then some to be an everyday guy for Maryland.
Yeah.
And we didn't really think he could be an everyday guy for Falmouth coming in.
You could deliver that news to Matt Swope yourself?
Yeah. I'll have to do so in College Park. Morales making his move from Wake Forest to Maryland. And again, it's Leif Palmer making his move from Oregon State to Cal Poly. He's part of a good Oregon State team this past year. An Oregon State team that has a lot of history with the Falmouth Commodores as Palmer goes behind 3-1. I think last year, a couple power hitters and Trent Carraway and Gavin Turley. Year before that, Cape League MVP and first overall pick, Travis Bazzano, was a Commodore. But the former Beaver can't do much damage with 1 out. It's a 5-pitch walk to Colin Priest. Second walk allowed by Leif Palmer. And third of this game for the Commodores. And here you have it right here. Ryan Martin comes in to pinch run for Colin Priest. Just after Andrew Del Piana does the sideline hit on it. Here's the new Dallas Baptist outfielder and pinch runner, Ryan Martin.
Don't get confused, guys. There is not the man at first base giving us play-by-play. I know that would be new innovation in the baseball broadcasting world, but there are two Ryan Martins at this game.
Doing both at the same time would be impressive for Martin, a rising redshirt junior, going from Dallas Baptist after a year at Georgia Highlands.
Now, I have a big question for you, Ryan. Sure. Obviously, you're a little biased. Who would be better, Ryan Martin trying to broadcast a baseball game or Ryan Martin out on the field trying to pinch run?
You're having me take a look at the stats right now. Oh, for me? If it was me or Ryan Martin, the Brewster Whitecap, you're saying?
The Brewster Whitecap in the booth, or you on the Brewster Whitecaps?
Martin's a fast guy. You look at the 4 stolen bases he had at Holly Springs earlier this spring. I'm gonna go the pinch runner for sure.
Do you think he'd be better pinch running than he would be broadcasting?
Oh, I'm getting confused. I thought you said me as a broadcaster for him as a pitcher.
No, I mean, you guys are both very good at your jobs.
I'll have to see. We'll have first base. Let's answer it at the end of this half inning. 1-1's taken for a called strike 2 by Carson Curse. Was a little bummed to see him not in the lineup, I'll be honest. We'll take a tale of the tapes again from our producer, Dan Papillo. Yeah, I guess I have him beat on Cape League experience. That's about it. One of the nicest guys as well. Enjoyed our conversation pregame. Talking about his journey and a really great namesake as well.
That's not the only thing you haven't beat in. Your university is more north than his, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. Similar ages, I guess.
We'll take a look here. He already has 2 stolen bases, so if he takes off for second, he could have 3 more than me. 2-2 taken for a called strike 3 by Curse. And it's the strikeout stuff working for Palmer, his 4th punch out. It leads to the second out in the top of the 7th.
Again, it's just Palmer. You know, you always want to take positives from a summer like this, even if the numbers still stay this high in terms of ERA once he leaves Falmouth. What you are going to be encouraged heading back to California, or heading to California for the first time, is the ERA. Or the strikeouts, rather.
Jacob Gerald. Skies the first pitch he sees down into foul territory on the right side. Falmouth still chasing by 5. It's been all Brewster and all Whitecaps in the last 2 innings. A 2-run top of the 5th was followed up by a 3-run top of the 6th for the visitors. So we got all 5 runs so far. They've all happened recently. They've all been credited so far to Leif Palmer. He's actively going 2 2/3 innings, giving up 4 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned.
Something else that I'm not sure why we haven't brought up on this broadcast, because it's very relevant, is Falmouth has struggled all year long from beginning to end with this Brewster team, but it has been 2 very different Brewster teams from now than it was on the second game of the season, the first time they played.
Ryan Martin takes off. It's a swing strike throw down from Harrison, and they got him. Ryan Martin can do a lot of things, but he gets caught up at second base right there, caught stealing. Great throw from Harrison behind the dish. It's still 5-0 Brewster entering the home half of the 7th, but before that, a tradition. We will stay here for America the Beautiful, or instead, we're going to put a pause on that tradition instead today from Gulf Fuller Field. 5-0 Brewster entering this break. Be right back on Cape League TV.
Introducing Open Cape, the local nonprofit internet service provider in this region. Open Cape's fast and reliable network is 100% fiber optic, providing affordable internet connectivity. To learn more, visit opencape.org and always speak with a live Open Cape representative. Open Cape, providing choice and competition for your home or business and the official internet provider of your Falmouth Commodores.
We are Open Cape.
Hi, my name is Matt Burgess, General Manager here at Falmouth Country Club. We have a unique 27-hole public golf course with a beautiful layout that is family-oriented. Kids play free here at Falmouth Country Club. Getting on the course is quick and easy with our app. You can book tee times, get yardages with GPS, use our interactive scorecard, track your stats, and receive exclusive in-app offers. Falmouth Country Club is a true Cape Cod classic and a local family favorite.
See you on the course.
Hi, my name is Matt Burgess, General Manager here at Falmouth Country Club. We have a unique 27-hole public golf course with a beautiful layout that is family-oriented. Kids play free here at Falmouth Country Club. Getting on the course is quick and easy with our app. You can book tee times, get yardages with GPS, use our interactive scorecard, track your stats, and receive exclusive in-app offers. Falmouth Country Club is a true Cape Cod classic and a local family favorite.
See you on the course.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support: Kinlan Grover Compass, Massachusetts State Lottery, Milton Cat, OT Sports, Quincy College, Reader's Hardware Supply, Southern Recognition, T-Mobile, Velo Sports, and of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support.
I'm Antonio Morales from Norfolk, Massachusetts, and I'd love to get a shout out to my mom, my dad, my sister, and all my supporters.
Well, we're fresh out of the stretch here from Gov Fuller Field. Home half of the 7th on the horizon for a 5-0 Brewster Whitecaps lead over the Falmouth Commodores in Game 32 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. Alongside Ben Haller, I'm Ryan Martin, back with you on Cape League TV, and appreciating you spending your Friday night with us. Here is the second inning of work and just a fourth on Cape Cod for Mitch Dye. University of Illinois righty faces off against 8-9-1 in this Commodores lineup that looks to plate Falmouth's first run in this game. It starts with Caden Brumbaugh. First pitch to Brumbaugh is a ball that bounces out of the glove of Jacob Gerald. Brumbaugh, a rising redshirt senior, heading to his third school for the Edmond, Oklahoma native. Started at Oklahoma State, did a couple of years and won back-to-back Big Ten championships with Nebraska. Now heading to Oklahoma. So far in this game, he's 0 for 2. Or 0 for 1, I should correct. A ground out to end the second, and then reached on a field, an error, so he was 0 for 2.
It was fun to talk to him about his experience in the last couple of Big Ten tournaments with Nebraska. That Big Ten tournament's played in Omaha, and it is all Nebraska fans. I mean, 85% or more of the fans in attendance are Nebraska when Nebraska's playing. And Brumbaugh said it feels more like a home field advantage in any game they actually play in Lincoln just because of how many fans that Charles Schwab can fit.
You and I are a couple of Big Ten guys. We know what Big Ten fandom looks like. Every school feels like it has their sport. Brumbaugh gets called out on strike 3 there. Penn State with wrestling. We saw the Big Ten Wrestling Championships. I saw them in College Park a couple of years ago. Fortunate to see that crowd, but Nebraska, they will pack Charles Schwab Field when the Huskers are in it. The former Husker Brumbaugh represents the first out in the bottom of the 7th. Now it's Justin Osterhaus.
What's Maryland's niche sport? When I say niche, anything that's not football, men's basketball.
For sure, lacrosse, though. The answer is lacrosse. Yeah. Played back-to-back championships, 0 for 2 in those. Lost to Notre Dame, then a loss at Gillette Stadium, just down the road in Foxborough, Massachusetts, to Cornell this past spring. Osterhaus watches a second pitch strike. The Alabama second baseman today, 1 for 2. Was singled and stranded in the 3rd and flew out to center in the 4th. The day that Mitch Dye's having so far as well. Just his second appearance on Cape Cod. He's working quickly. Already has 3 strikeouts to his name and an inning and a 3rd pitched. 3 strikeouts consecutively. Sat down Zuckerman, Harrison, and we just saw with Brumbaugh. 1-2 to Osterhaus. Off the end of the back, this one tailing foul. Will go as such.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what this change to the very bottom of the lineup does for Osterhaus. Obviously, he's got the infield single already in this game, but a change from, he was hitting 5th, but when both Adrian Lopez and Mike Anu were out of the lineup for a few games, all the way back down to 9th. We've seen him in the top of the lineup this year.
1-2 runs inside to even the count. Was that a strike 3?
No, I think the argument is it hit him. Osterhaus says it hit him. He's about to drop his bat, head down to first.
Home plate umpire Chris Engelstrand will come have a word with first base umpire Ryan Damari and their third base counterpart Austin Presell. Talk about that with Osterhaus, a guy who knows his Brewster team well, one of just a few Commodores to play in all 4 games, and they will say it hits Osterhaus.
Yeah, so what happened there, Ryan DeMare was the first base umpire, and I think you could see he had some urgency coming into this umpires meeting, like he had something to say, and he was really, I think, the one leading, saying, you know what, it looked from my angle like it hit him. Totally missed from home plate umpire Chris Engstrand.
Good correction by Chris Engelstrand behind the plate as Antonio Morales comes up. We have an opportunity to say his name. How about congratulations to Chris Engelstrand behind home plate, calling his final game from behind the dish on Cape Cod. A 28-year Massachusetts cop. Also umpires in his spare time. He's going to retire and head down to St. Louis for his next move soon. Cool to highlight him as we now highlight Antonio Morales. Commodore's leadoff man today is 0 for 2. Got Osterhaus at first base. That's a lot of speed. Osterhaus takes off, pitches outside, and bounces out of the glove again for Gerald. And it's Osterhaus swiping second.
We've also seen this Falmouth team, not only with the errors, but struggling with the base paths recently. Did a nice job today, being smart, picking and choosing when to try to steal.
That's stolen base number 14 for Osterhaus. Tie him for 5th most on Cape Cod. And at 6th, he was tied with his teammate in Mike Anu. So Osterhaus now the leader on the Commodores in stolen bases. Commodores a team that steals more bases than anyone. 67 on the year for Falmouth. That's first. In second place is this Brewster team with 58. Falmouth still chasing by 5, but Osterhaus in scoring position with 1 out. For Antonio Morales. And Morales making the transfer from Wake Forest to Maryland. And he's following Andrew Koshy, Cape League veteran, former Brewster Whitecap, who went from the Demon Deacons to the Terps. Two balls, 2 strikes to the West Division All-Star Game MVP this past Saturday. And Antonio Morales, here it is. Grounded over the first baseman, lost, goes down on knee to get it, waves off his pitcher and die, and goes to the bag himself. It does move Osterhaus from 2nd to 3rd, but there's now 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th for Carl Schmidt.
And I think that's one of the things for Falmouth. They've moved right. They've done a good enough job in small ball getting runners over, and they've had opportunities, but it's once they get in scoring position, they've totally just let that small ball die. Strikeouts with runner on 3rd and less than 2 outs.
Here's a fun stat, Ben, as Schmidt goes from the right side against Dye. We always talk about runners in scoring position, runners left on base. How about this being the 4th time in this game in which the Commodores get a runner on 3rd base? Again, that's still a 0 on the scoreboard for Falmouth, though. Carl Schmidt looks to change that. So far today, 1 for 3. So grounded over his defensive counterpart at 3rd, and Mikolakis will get off of his glove. It'll go as an error on Mikolakis, and the run does score in Justin Osterhaus.
Yeah, going to be a tough play to make anyway over there at 3rd base, but I think that's one that Mikolakis will be the first to tell you that he should make on a couple of hops, sprinting in. And another one where it's just not looking into the glove. We've seen a lot of errors from throwing. That one, Mikolakis, I don't even think realized wasn't in his glove when he went to go throw it over.
With the run scoring at Osterhaus, still a 4-run Brewster lead here in the home half of the 7th. Time dwindling down, but still enough to mount a comeback for Falmouth. It starts with Ken Schmidt. First pitch he sees, again, gets away from the catcher and Jacob Gerald. New backstop out of Clemson for the Whitecaps. He's had a few miscommunications today with Brewster pitchers he's probably not that familiar with.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to do it all in one inning if you're Falmouth. I mean, just keep chipping away and finding, 1 or 2 run innings. But a runner at scoring position now on that pass ball, you'd really love to get him in.
Yep. Schmidt's got speed at 2nd. That's Carl Schmidt. Ken Schmidt in the batter's box. Again, no relation between the California 3rd baseman in scoring position now and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket in the batter's box. Schmidt's 0 for 3 so far today. 2 groundouts and a strikeout looking in the 5th inning. Dies 1-1. Here it is. He's clubbed down the first base line. Fair for Kent Schmidt. Carl Schmidt will take the turnaround third. He'll score standing. And Kent Schmidt will head over to second. I believe some fans, kids picked that up along the right field line. So it's at least second base for Kent Schmidt. And a run batted in with Carl Schmidt going from second to home. It's 5-2 Brewster.
Yeah, we've seen this be an issue in Falmouth a couple of times already this year with some young fans getting a little overeager down the right or left field line. Not to take away from a very good piece of hitting for Kent Schmidt. Just down the first base line, when he pulls the ball, it feels like it goes a million miles an hour. He's one of the top guys on this team in exit velocity. And
this goes the 17th run batted in, though, for Kent Schmidt. That's 7th most on Cape Cod. I wonder who's near the top of that category and who is second. Well, it's Micah New. He's got 21 of his own. He now steps into the right side. 0 for 3 today so far, though, for the Arkansas Razorback and New. Take a quick look at that official scoring as well on the play. It will go as a ground rule double for Kent Schmidt. Schmidt's third double on the season and scores Carl Schmidt. Dies 1-1. Off the top of the bat for New. Dies 1 strike away from his 4th strikeout in this game. And it would end a bottom of the 7th in which Falmouth has already scored its first 2 runs.
yeah, Dye's done a nice job, and as of right now, that run is not earned because of, or neither of the runs are earned because of the play that should have been made at third by Michalakis.
Here's the Cape Cod Baseball League's home run leader in 7, Mike Canoe. He sees the 1-2. Big swing and a miss. Second strikeout for New, 4th of the game for Mitch Dye. But it does come after a 2-run bottom of the 7th for Falmouth. First 2 runs of the game for the Commodores. Still a 3-run cushion for Brewster. Looks to add on it. And we'll talk to you next in the 8th inning right here on Cape League TV.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just 1 click away.
It's an honor to support the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store located at 147 T-Ticket Highway and try a slice today.
Hi, I'm Michael Kasparian, president of the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is here for the benefit of the whole community. Whether you're a local business or a visitor, Falmouth has endless offerings, from its beautiful beaches and historical sites to its local shopping and eateries. The Chamber bridges the 8 villages, providing visitors with all the tools to make their trip one to remember. Our visitor center is located in downtown Falmouth, just off of Main Street. Come by and meet our team. The Falmouth Chamber of Commerce, your community connection.
I'm Trevor Baumler, right-handed pitcher from TCU, and you're watching Commodores Baseball on Cape League TV.
Two more outs to go from Gov Fuller Field in Game 32 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. Brewster's up 5-2 right now over the Commodores. Crazy to think, Ben, but we can see all the remaining regular season games for the Commodores. And it will start coming up next against Wareham tomorrow.
It is really coming down to it. Again, it's just flown by and really running out of time for Falmouth to make a push. Obviously being, if they lose this game, they'll be alone in last place, but only by a couple of points. So nothing that's out of reach necessarily, and it'd be hard for it to be out of reach by the last game unless this Falmouth team just keeps tumbling and can't find ways to pick up wins.
Just 8 games to go. Being a work for Leif Palmer as this one's grounded over to Adrian Lopez across the diamond in time to first base to get out Jacob Jarrell, the first out in the 8th inning. Yeah, so we take a look again. It's Falmouth right now tied with Hyannis for the bottom of the West Division at 27 points. It's a Hyannis team that's going to beat Bourne tonight. Harbor Hawks up 12-0 over the Braves at McKean Park in the bottom of the 7th inning. That one about as good as called. So if Falmouth loses to Brewster here, 5th place belongs only to the Commodores, who would then be a season low 5 games out of 500.
Still just a 1 win after the All-Star break. And again, it was about July 12th, I want to say, where this team was sitting in tied for first place in the division. Here we are 13 days later. It's totally flipped.
It's been a big change for Falmouth. Brewster's also feeling the same thing. Whitecaps losing 6 of their last 8. 0-2. Skied the opposite way by Scott Newman. Morales right in front of the foul line. Makes the catch for out number 2.
Feels like Falmouth and Hyannis are fighting to see who's going to be last place in these last couple of weeks, because that was the team that Falmouth was tied with in first place a couple weeks ago.
Here's the leadoff man again, and Adam Magpock looking to build on a 3-run Brewster lead with 2 outs in the top of the 8th.
But the way that schedule's set up, your last 5 games of the season, 4 of them come against the other divisional opponents. 1 comes against Chatham, who sits in last place. That is favorable if you're Falmouth, especially if you're trying to gain some ground to do some work against other teams in your division.
Again, they need to reiterate. Brewster losing 6 of its last 8. Falmouth 7 of its last 9. It's been an unforgiving mid-July for the Commodores. Adam Magpock, the San Diego State right fielder. He's 1 for 4 today, but that one hit a big one. A 1-run double in the 5th. They start off the scoring for Brewster. It's pulled off the plate here by Leif Palmer. Palmer looking for his first inning facing the minimum. Pitch count's getting up. Here's pitch 71. Just outside for ball 3. Palmer's active line so far going 3 2/3 innings pitched. Has given up 4 hits, 5 runs, and 4 of them earned. 1 walk to 4 strikeouts.
They're letting Palmer go, man. With 72 pitches for him, you don't see that a whole lot on the Cape.
3-0 from Palmer. Need to get me over pitch inside strike 1.
But he's built up as a starter. Didn't really do it a ton at Oregon State this last year, but I think that's one of the roles he wants to work into at Cal Poly this upcoming year.
Mustangs want to see him in that role. Here's a 5-pitch walk, though, to Adam Magpock. His first walk of the game and second issued by Palmer extends the top of the 8th. Ram Meert, who we already heard about, is a molecular and cellular biology major at Johns Hopkins University. He's in the Falmouth bullpen, should he be called on. But here against Brendan Lawson, it's still Leif Palmer. 1 on, 2 out as Lawson clubs one into right center field. Playable for Antonio Morales. Takes a few steps to his right and ends the top of the 8th inning with the fly up. Magpock gets on with a walk, but it's still a good inning for Leif Palmer and the Commodores. A 0 on the board for Brewster, but still a 5-2 Whitecaps lead. We pick it up in the bottom of the 8th on Cape League TV.
You'll always be safe at home with the Diana Lucevero Group at Compass Real Estate.
Hi, I'm Jim Murray, owner of Falmouth's historic Clam Shack, now Jim's Clam Shack. Located on scenic Falmouth Harbor, Jim's Clam Shack is a destination for the best seafood and sunsets on the Cape. We're open 7 days a week, so stop by for lunch or join us for dinner on the rooftop deck. Bring the entire family to try our wide selection of seafood and kid-friendly option. We deliver the freshest products to your plates daily. Jim's Clam Shack, proud supporter of the Falmouth Commodores.
What's up? I'm Kent Schmidt, first base from Georgia Tech, and you're watching Cape League TV.
You You hear from the Georgia Tech and Cape League All-Star Ken Schmidt right there. He's a big reason why the Commodores have 2 runs on the board, but entering the bottom of the 8th inning, it's been not enough so far against the Brewster Whitecaps. 5-2 Caps entering the home half of the 8th. Schmidt had the 1-run double in the past inning, just an inning ago in the 7th. Schmidt was a Cape League All-Star, and so was Kyle Kipp, the rising junior at Boston College, becomes the 3rd pitcher utilized in this game for Brewster. And he'll have 5, 6, and 7 due up. Adrian Lopez, Ryan Zuckerman, and Bear Harrison, respectively, in this Commodores lineup.
Yeah, second time he's pitched against Falmouth in about a week. A lot of appearances for him. He's making his 11th, like you said. And he's pitched in all different roles. 2 holds, 2 saves on the year, and a total of 11 1/3 innings pitched. He usually doesn't go more than 1 inning, but could this potentially be a 6-out save attempt? I would not be surprised.
We'll have to see. And Kipp was the East Division All-Star Game reserve. Still has a 0 in the ERA column, but he did get worked around in that win for the Whitecaps at Stony Brook Field last time these 2 teams met. Goes just 2/3 of an inning, gives up 3 hits, and then the plug is pulled quickly by Whitecaps manager Jamie Shevchuk.
Yeah, I mean, that I think is so telling of Falmouth this year, of this recently, and the offensive struggles running in scoring position. They got 3 hits on him in 2/3 of an inning and could not score any of those runs.
Here's Adrian Lopez, 0 for 3 so far today. USC shortstop has been in a slump right now for the Commodores. Here it's Cape League All-Star versus Cape League All-Star. A reserve for the East pitching to a reserve on the West as Lopez. It's a bad bunt attempt up to Jacob Jarrell. Sometimes with these struggles in this unforgiving game, when it rains, it pours. Not what Lopez wanted to see on the first pitch in the bottom of the 8th.
Sometimes you're just trying to put a ball in play to get your mojo back a little bit. Again, his first 3 outs, all of them were decently hard-hit balls. It's not like the strikeouts we saw from him earlier.
Jacob Jarrell gets to it, losing the mask behind home plate. Now with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th, here's Ryan Zuckerman. Righty on righty versus Kyle Kipp. Kipp, the rising junior again at Boston College. New England guy, originally from Stamford, Connecticut, and West Hill High School. Really even mix for the 6'2", 200-pound right-hander. Uses a fastball, sinker, and changeup, each about 30% of the time. Adds a slider sparingly.
He's kind of got that same mojo, or at least same season so far as Jacob Schultz. I think is a close comparison as someone who's been able to have a lot of appearances because they don't go long in those individual appearances.
Yeah, for Kipp this season, again on Cape Cod, he's appeared in 10 games, just 11 1/3 innings pitched. There's Ryan Zuckerman, rising junior at Georgia Tech. Stays in the ACC after 2 seasons at Pittsburgh. So far today, he's 1 for 3. And on the check swing, first base umpire Ryan Damari says he does not go around. Even the count up at 2. Zuckerman has been a great addition for the Commodores this season, still batting over 350, but he'll swing through strike 3 here. His 2nd consecutive strikeout in the first of the game for Kyle Kipp.
It's just a disappointing way to respond after you finally get some offense going with runners on base in that 7th, score a couple of runs. You take advantage of an error. But then you come out and you pop up a bunt and you strike out against a good pitcher.
Here the Commodores looking to get out of a funk. The bat you want to see right now is Bear Harrison. Rising junior at Texas A&M is the only Commodore with multiple hits in this game so far. He had 2 of Falmouth's first 4. The Danville, California native started his career at St. Mary's and makes the transfer over to Texas A&M, where he was great this past spring, starting 42 of 44 appearances for the Aggies. Kipp's 1-1. It's outside again. Bit of a late season resurgence from Bear Harrison. Again, don't want to say winning that battle in the catcher's room between him, David McCann, and Mark Quattroni. This is the last one standing, with Quattroni going to Bourne and McCann being signed by the Yankees.
Yeah, I think one of those things where, again, it's just gone hand in hand. I'm not surprised to see as the playing time has been more consistent. I mean, he had 3 straight starts earlier this year. That was before any other catcher had multiple.
Kips 2-2, swing and a miss. Gets Harrison to go around. Second straight punch out for Kyle Kipp as he faces the minimum in the bottom of the 8th. 5-2 Brewster. Visiting Whitecaps looking to pick up 2 big points. And they have their final half inning potentially to add on some insurance. We go to the top of the 9th on Cape League TV.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just one click away.
It's an honor to support the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store located at 147 T-Ticket Highway and try a slice today.
You'll always be safe at home with the Diana Lucevero Group at Compass Real Estate.
Hi, I'm Jacob Schultz from Houston, Texas, and I'd like to give a special shout out to my mom.
Thanks for the shout out from Jacob Schultz, the Cape League All-Star and left-handed pitcher for the Commodores. Here's another southpaw for Falmouth in a 5-2 Brewster lead. Entering the top of the 9th, it's Grant Meert, left-hander out of Johns Hopkins, making his 4th appearance on Cape Cod. Another guy who saw time in that loss at Wareham recently. He's looking to bounce back. And in a big moment, Commodores down by just 3. He looks to keep it at that gap right here. Alongside Ben Howler, I'm Ryan Martin for Cape League TV, wrapping up this one in Game 32 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season.
Yeah, Meert's someone we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast. Andrew Delapiana had that piece on, it's not just the arm that can make some money for Meert, it's the brain too. Molecular and something biology?
Cellular.
You're very good at remembering that. I don't know how.
I was going to say, so he's the one getting the 4.0 GPA and being honored as one of the highest GPAs across student athletes. And you can't remember the name of the major.
Molecular and cellular
biology. First pitch swing goes Brody Delamalier, and he's on with a leadoff single to begin the 9th. Take another look at that single for Brody Delamalier, his 2nd of the game.
Another good piece of hitting for, it seems like everybody on this Brewster team has had at least one of those really good at-bats, but Delamalier, 2nd single of the game.
Good piece of hitting as we now do have a pinch hitter for Brewster. Get a number to it. It is Cal Fisher, rising sophomore at Florida State. He's in place of Maddox Mikalakis. Mikalakis' day is done after a 1-for-4 day. Did include a single to lead off the 4th.
Yeah, a lot of this I think is the lefty-righty matchup. Mikalakis is a lefty at the plate, but also some time to get some other guys top of the 9th, and you're trying to extend a lead. Also, though, swing and a miss. Cal Fisher, not someone who needs more experience. Gets a lot of starts when they play lefties.
Already the 20th game played for Cal Fisher with the Brewster Whitecaps. Deerfield, Wisconsin native. Went to Deerfield High School and has spent both of his springs in the ACC with the Seminoles. Meert's 0-2 is clubbed into right center field. Morales making a large run on it from his spot in right field. Pulls down out number 1 and sends Delamalier back to first base. A quick reminder that this broadcast is a copyrighted telecast of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Any unauthorized duplication, retransmission, or other use is strictly prohibited. Brewster still up by 3. Here with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. That's where the score reads with Brody Delamalier on first base for Dalton Wentz. 5 runs on 7 hits with 3 errors for Brewster. 2 runs on 6 hits with the matching 3 errors for Falmouth. Throw over from Meert, but it's no doubt that Delamalier gets back in safely.
It feels like somewhat of a contagious disease. This Falmouth team had been really clean defensively up until that home game against Wareham in their second matchup of the year, where Wareham had 7 errors to the team. Falmouth would respond the next game, or 2 games later, with 3 of their own, and it seems like they've had a lot of multi-error games.
Alton Wentz, player that you really need to be sound with defensively against. Keep league all-star starter at second base for the East Division. See strike 2 though, and there's been struggles as of late again for Wentz. 0 for his last 14. That dates back to the last time these two teams played. He hasn't had a hit since playing Falmouth in that win last Wednesday. Grant Meert's 0-2. Swing and a miss. Gets Wentz to go around again. A big second out in the top of the 9th as Ryan Martin heads to the plate. First strikeout for Grant Meert.
It's another opportunity, too, at this top of the 9th to Meert to get right. You have that 3-run deficit. You definitely want to keep it close to have a chance in the 9th, but still not the biggest high-leverage situation.
So here is Ryan Martin, rising redshirt junior at Dallas Baptist.
Ryan, you want me to take over the play-by-play?
I know, it's getting confusing. Delamalier still over at first base. I can't say that in my time broadcasting, high school, collegiately at the University of Maryland, this is the first time as Ryan Martin, is called the Ryan Martin. Not the craziest thing in the world. There's over 1,300 of us, I think, in the world.
You've done your research.
I have. Well, you ever do those things where it's like, how common is my name? That's dating back many years. Many years. Ryan Martin, as expected, is certainly a common name. Martin swing just a 196 batting average so far. He's got 9 hits in 46 plate appearances. 17th game with the Brewster Whitecaps for the Marietta, Georgia native. The same hometown as Commodores all-star starting first baseman in Ken Schmidt. Meert's 2-1. Just outside. Martin watches it into the glove. You're now looking up how common is your name or confirming
I can't
mine?
find a first and last name.
I'm telling you, this is something we did 4 or 5 years ago that is the same name as me. Yes, Dallas Baptist, getting a good one, and a great guy as well in Ryan Martin. Fortunate to have a pregame conversation with him over our shared name. Check swing goes as strike 2.
I don't think there's a lot of Ben Howlers.
I don't think so. Ryan Martin might be a little more common. It's a payoff to Ryan Martin. Runner goes, but he'll have to head back there. He's on the move with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. And Brewster up 5-2. Carson Kearse waits on deck should he be needed in his top of the 9th. It's Colin Priest, who was a designated hitter today. His day is over after going 0 for 2. Did reach on a walk, and then was pitch ran for by Martin, who again spoils away the payoff. We will have an 8th pitch in this at-bat between the lefty Grant Meert and the righty swinging Ryan Martin. I do love saying that in the batter's box.
I was trying to think if I was in your shoes, if that would ever get old. I don't think it would.
Payoff to Martin. He's inside for a called strike 3. Second straight strikeout for Grant Meert. He came into this half inning with Falmouth down by 3 and leaves by holding that same score. Exactly what you needed out of the St. Johns Hopkins Blue Jay. Falmouth, last chance is bottom of the 9th when we come back.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just one click away.
It's an honor to support the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store located at 147 T-Ticket Highway and try a slice today.
You'll always be safe at home with the Diana Lucevero Group at Compass Real Estate.
I'm Ben Royo, shortstop from Texas A&M, and you're watching Commodores Baseball on Cape League TV.
Three outs represent the last hope for the Falmouth Commodores, who are looking to pick up 2 big points. Just 8 games left to go in the Cape Cod Baseball League regular season. 5-2 Brewster over Falmouth entering the bottom of the 9th. Big ups now for 8, 9, and 1. Caden Brumbaugh, Justin Osterhaus, and Antonio Morales look to score at least 3 runs and keep Falmouth into it. With the new pitcher on the mound for the Whitecaps, it's Landon O'Donnell, 6'5", 230-pound right-hander from the State College of Florida, Manatee, Sarasota.
Yeah, O'Donnell's somebody who, again, was one of maybe a later addition for this Brewster team, and it's still one appearance for him that really spiked his numbers. Started this summer with the State College Spikes in the MLB Draft League and was outstanding in 11 appearances there, a 0.84 ERA and 10 2/3 innings pitched.
Starts with Caden Brumbaugh. He's looking for his first hit in this game. His first hit in this game, his first homer on Cape Cod, his first run batted in of the season. Could be a big moment as Falmouth tries to start a 9th inning rally. One ball, one strike to the new Oklahoma Sooner, transferring from Nebraska. And you got Brumbaugh, Osterhaus, and back to the top of the lineup with Antonio Morales. It's a group that collectively has gone 1 for 9 in this game. 2-1 is skied into shallow right field. Adam Magpaw comes in on it and makes a catch for out number 1.
Yeah, this Commodores team at the beginning of the year is an offense that showed a lot of resiliency in a couple of those games. Some that come to mind, the home Chatham game in the first half of the year, and also that tie on the road to YD, who was the best team in the league at the time and still tied for the best team in the league right now. It seems like that resiliency has just gone down. That's been one of the biggest issues, is once they trail, they've had a hard time fighting back.
Justin Osterhaus steps in, takes a call at strike 1. There's a fun stat for you for Osterhaus. Again, he's 1 for 3 so far on the day. That average sits at 263 on the season. Goes up to 286 in the 9th inning or later. 0-1 goes inside to even the count up. At 286 average for Osterhaus, that's the highest qualified average by a Commodore batter in the 9th inning or later. He's the guy you want up here, the 9-hole hitter. That was off strike 2.
He's not your stereotypical 9-hitter at all.
And something we talked about, a lot closer games and a lot less tense moments, but he's someone that Rob Vaughn can put pretty much anywhere for Alabama this spring after transferring over from Purdue Fort Wayne. But all Osterhaus is thinking about is this game, 1-2. Skied into left field, tailing foul, and will get out of play before first can look up at it. Again, with Maddox Mikalakis out of this game too, we can update your third baseman. It's Cal Fisher who came over and taken a spot there. O'Donnell's 1-2. Inside, good take from Osterhaus to even the count up at 2.
It's always hard, too, when you're in this situation and everyone's trying to swing for the fences, but you really just need base runners right now. Again, it's an important 9-hole spot, too, because you can get to the top of the lineup.
Just got to start something down 3. And Osterhaus spoils it off. Justin singled to lead off the 3rd inning, but stranded at 3rd base. And flew out to center field an inning later. And then was hit in the 7th, where he scored the first of 2 runs in this game for Falmouth. Landon O'Donnell. And delivers a 2-2. Clubbed into right field by Osterhaus. Could be playable. First baseman Lawson looks at it. This one will hit off the gravel.
It's turned into a pretty long at bat for Osterhaus, too, so you like the fight from him.
Here's the 8th pitch upcoming between Landon O'Donnell to Justin Osterhaus. Long walk back over to their designated positions for Dalton Wentz at second and Brendan Lawson at first base in this tense moment. Falmouth trails by 3. Just 2 outs to play with. Justin Osterhaus seeing an 8th pitch from Landon O'Donnell. Here it is. Check swing, and they say he went around. Ball gets away from Gerald, though, and Osterhaus knew immediately he could go take first base. How about a drop 3rd strike puts Osterhaus over at first base with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th.
That's big for Falmouth. You at least get the base runner on and not the out. It's always one of the more frustrating things. You get the swing there, but still not necessarily a pass ball, more of a wild pitch that got away.
First strikeout in this game for Osterhaus, and first one for O'Donnell on the mound. But Osterhaus knew it immediately. It's the first with no throw. Time for the lefty Antonio Morales. And again, Osterhaus now leads the team with 13 stolen bases. Doesn't go on the first pitch, which is inside on Morales. Leadoff man is 0 for 3 so far today. Big question, Ben. Do you think about sending Osterhaus at all at first base with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th?
No. There's absolutely zero reason to do so. Except for, stolen base numbers up yet. I mean, it depends. You can look at it different ways. I don't think there's any chance. I don't think Brewster would really throw to second either. It's just a meaningless 90 feet.
Still a 3-run hole for the Commodores.
I mean, I guess what you do is eliminate the double play ball, maybe.
That's it, right? Osterhaus was caught stealing in that early season loss versus YD here from Gulf Fuller Fields, in which the Red Sox pulled off a 1-run win. 1-0, Osterhaus does take off. It's a ball, a throw down from Gerald, gets away from the shortstop in Curse, and it is Osterhaus eliminating the double play. He's off at second. But a 15th stolen base now, or 14th of the season for Justin Osterhaus. Any kind of contact from Morales could score him from second. Of course, that is meaningless, though, in this 3-run Commodore hole.
And now you see this a little bit. Someone who's cruising runs into just an ounce of trouble and starting to lose the zone a little bit. O'Donnell's thrown 3 straight balls to Morales.
Big spot here for Antonio Morales, who did walk in the 3rd inning. 3-0. He is low and away, a 4-pitch walk to the Commodores' leadoff man. Now 2 on, both with speed. Osterhaus at second, Antonio Morales at first, and the game-tying run steps up to the plate in the form of Carl Schmidt.
We're meeting on the mound too. De La Rosso is gonna, I think, just trying the best to settle O'Donnell in. I mean, when you have such a great start, leave the runner on first base isn't necessarily 100% your fault. You're just telling them, hey, everything's going to be all right.
It was
4 balls.
A tale of 2 batters faced for O'Donnell so far after the fly out by Brumbaugh. Remember, it was an 8-pitch drop 3rd strike on Justin Osterhaus. Took off for first, got there safely, and then 4 straight balls delivered to Antonio Morales. So a huge moment for Carl Schmidt. He represents the game-tying run in the bottom of the ninth. 5-2 Brewster lead. Brewster in the East Division, Falmouth in the West. Two teams that desperately are looking for these 2 points in their respective standings with 8 games to go in the Cape League regular season. First pitch, a called strike for Carl Schmidt. Out of Cal Brooklyn, the third baseman so far today is 1 for 4. Singled in the 5th. Reached on an error and scored in the 7th. Kent Schmidt waits on deck for what would be the game-winning run if he can get up and deliver the Commodores their first walk-off in 2025.
It's been quiet 9th innings for Falmouth. Whether you look at on the road or home this year, they just have not done much.
This is a Brewster team that plays 4 in the top of the 9th during the Commodores' home opener. That was a 6-2 win that Brewster earned. Or 6-3, I should say. And Falmouth dropping its home opener this season. That feels like ages ago, yet somehow that was the last time Brewster was here at Gov Fuller Field.
Yeah.
Second and final time that Brewster will face this Commodores team with Falmouth at home. 2 on, 1 out for Carl Schmidt. Pitch, swing and a miss for Schmidt. A big first strikeout for Landon O'Donnell. Makes the last hope for Falmouth. I'm up to the lefty box with Kent Schmidt. He could end this game in a Brewster win, or if somehow Kent Schmidt gets a hold of one for what would be his 3rd home run on the season, he would end this game for the Commodores. Do or die for Falmouth in the final quarter of the Cape League season. It will be an automatic ball against Landon O'Donnell, so Carl Schmidt steps back into the box with a 1-0 count before he even sees a pitch. Think about Kent Schmidt, the Marietta, Georgia native, rising junior at Georgia Tech. He has lived for the biggest moments in his final game at Georgia Tech. As part of the Oxford Regional, hit 2 home runs for his first career multi-home run day in college. ACC's batting average leader takes a deep breath. I'll make it a 2-0 count. Again, it's home plate umpire and Chris Engelstrand who has a word with Landon O'Donnell about not addressing the batter in Schmidt.
So there's 2 balls now to Schmidt, both of them automatic balls.
We had the first pitch ball in this at-bat. I believe that should just be a warning. 2 balls, no strikes. 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Upstairs, you can feel the tension both in the batter's box with Schmidt and on the mound with Landon O'Donnell. Take a look there. Mike Ganu, the Cape Cod Baseball League's leader with 7 home runs, and the front runner for Cape League MVP this season. He waits on deck. You can't write it much better here at Gov Fuller Field on a Friday night. 3-0 to Schmidt. It's going to be ball 4. 8 consecutive balls thrown by Landon O'Donnell. Load the bases up. Falmouth sees him juice for the first time tonight in the exact moment that Brewster could not have it happen.
Well, it didn't end up mattering because New's coming up anyway, but if Schmidt were to make that last out, that would, because of the decision to switch New and Schmidt and line up from 3-4, New comes up anyways, typically the 3-hitter.
So correct that. Not 2 straight walks. There's the strikeout to Carl Schmidt in between. And now make it a 5th consecutive ball thrown by Landon O'Donnell between the 4-pitch walk to Kent Schmidt and ball 1 to Mike Anu. Justin Osterhaus at 3rd. Antonio Morales at 2nd. Kent Schmidt on 1st. That's a lot more speed at 2nd and 3rd than at 1st. Or Kent Schmidt represents the game-tying run. Mike Anu, the game-winning one in the box. But he'll sky this one into right field. First baseman Lawson goes over to it in foul territory, puts the glove up, and makes the catch. This game is over. Falmouth loads the bases. Can't do anything with it. with a potential walk-off available. Instead, Commodores strand 3 have now a season low 5 games under 500. It's a 5-2 win for the Brewster Whitecaps.
It's another one of those games for Falmouth. It feels like it's something different every day, just the 2 runs for them so far. They had 6 base hits, but again, hitting with runners in scoring position, early opportunities, Commodores just could not get nothing.
So it goes as 5 runs on 7 hits and 3 errors for the Brewster Whitecaps. Commodores counter with 2 runs on 6 hits and match with 3 errors. That was the story in this game. The Whitecaps moved to 17-14-1 and now are tied atop the East Division standings with 35 points. Meanwhile, last place in the West Division now belongs to the 13-18-1 Commodores. We're now alongside the third member of our crew, and Andrew Della Piana, to talk a little bit about this 3-run loss for the Commodores. Third consecutive loss. Andrew, it was the errors, but those middle innings offensively became the difference maker in this Brewster win.
Yeah, it's kind of something we've been talking about a whole lot this season, Ryan. It's that runners in scoring position. We even saw it when the Commodores start to battle back a little bit here in the 9th inning, but 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. You allow 11 on base in this ball game, and when you can't bring runners in, especially in this league, when you have so many talented guys on the other side that are knocking in runs, it's going to make the biggest difference in these games.
Yeah, again, Andrew, it was something we talked about so much, is just the not being able to put anything together. And this is the first time this Commodores team is alone in last place of the division. Is it a concern moving forward with 8 games left, just how much this team has stumbled, or do you think there's a good chance they can get themselves back into it?
Well, Ben, there's a saying in the sport that when you get to the postseason, you want to be playing your best baseball, and that's not really the case right now with the Commodores as they dropped that 3rd straight and dropped to 5 games under 500, as Ryan already alluded to. Last place all by yourself in the division after Katuitt picks up the victory tonight. Hyannis blows out Bourne in 7 innings in a 12-2 victory. So the Commodores, a long uphill climb coming up in these next few games. Hey, look, you got a division game tomorrow, then you got a big one on Sunday as well against Orleans, a struggling Firebirds team that you have really played well against this season. Then Monday, you take that day off to kind of reset for the rest of the season in that final stretch. But you really need these next couple of game guys if you want to give yourself a chance to make the postseason, because it's just 2 teams out of the 10 that don't make the playoffs, guys.
Yeah, again, Andrew, you don't have to tell either of these 2 teams. It was Brewster and Falmouth who both missed the playoffs in the new format last year in 2024. Andrew, last one from me. We see on the field right behind you one of the few times first-year manager Jared Saltzlemakia brings all of his guys in, has a conversation. Got 8 games to go. What's the message right now for Saltzlemakia with that group?
Well, it's kind of been the message with this team all season long, and when I spoke with Adrian Lopez before today's game, it's really about having a new mentality every single day. You can't really worry about the past after a game like this, and you just have to worry about what's in front of you if you're this team.
Andrew, thanks so much for the insight and observations in this 5-2 Brewster win over the Commodores. Again, Falmouth falling to the last place in the West Division. That'll do it so far for our broadcast. We appreciate you tuning in on this Friday night. As Andrew just alluded to, it's 2 straight at home for Falmouth. They welcome in the West Division leading Wareham Gateman tomorrow. That game will start, as always, at 6 p.m. after this altered 7 p.m. time for the rain. We appreciate you staying up with us here on Cape League TV. Gateman coming to town tomorrow, 6 p.m. first pitch. You want to be right here at 5:40 for opening the door and our pregame show. But for everyone here, our director, Kyle Klima, producer, Dan Papillo, third member of our team, and Andrew Della Piana, my partner and friend, Ben Howler, I'm Ryan Martin, saying thanks so much for tuning in. Your final score for the final time, Brewster claims it 5-2. We'll talk to you tomorrow against Wareham.